So, what do you think will be the first goal marked here?
Tough to say. Some of these, like the charm goal, the sprint master, dash master, or potentially the obtained Lurian could be found quite early. Either in a shop or one of these first crossroads checks. But other than that, I don't see a lot that our runners can sort of rush. I think that the first thing they would maybe go to, or it would be /2 Shade Gate if they have early access to sort of the entrance to QG via Green Path or getting into Fog Canyon. I think we may see that early.
Though we could see something else rushed, like kill 3 different Great Husk sentries if they get King Station Stag or something like that, and no way into Fungal, or something like Claw that doesn't give you an easy way to get towards the Shade Gates. So you'd have to go all the way around from cliffs.
Could be, and it looks like our runners are off to the races with Locust just being a second or two ahead of Mathulu, and neither player choosing to skip Fury. So we'll see whether it pays off for our runners. Ooh, and finding a fragment early potentially could be pointing towards that Abyss, or could just be bait. So
I'm sure that is what's on Locust's mind right now.
Bapanada.
Locust making his way to his Zelda, not seeing a lot there, just a Palor and a Vessel Fragment, a couple of relics.
It'll be interesting to see with not really any guidance towards any goals like False Knight Breeding Moloch, what these racers decide to check here first, like shops, go Mask Shard, False Knight, maybe even do a quick Grubs check.
We could very well. I think the Grubs check makes a lot of sense given how random this board is. There's a lot of these things that aren't necessarily progression, right? The Sprint Master, Dash Master, the Lumafly Lantern being maybe progression, but some of these other goals that don't necessarily point you in one direction that could very easily be at Grubs.
Yeah. Also, with 15 Grubs on the board, Grubs is something you might want to get anyways. So that's another consideration there. Looks like Locust lost some time not getting double spike in the arena, but Mathulu's going to spend that time here getting the Hot Springs bench. And we're going to see Locust skipping Go Mask Shard as well.
Yeah, we'll see if Mathulu chooses to skip it as well.
Yep, looks like we're not going to see Go Mask Shard for quite a bit here, as our runners go clear out Crossroads.
And Locust being first to that Dreamnail check. Dreamnail being quite strong on this board. Having the Dream Gate, the Defeat Markoth, as well as Dreamnail White Lady locked behind it.
As well as kill a King's Mold.
Yeah, as well as kill a King's Mold requiring 3. Luckily, Mathulu not going to be too far behind, though, in getting that.
Looks like Locust is going to start farming some Grubs here with this easy one near Crossroads. And looks like he's going to go do the Shops play and go do the Shade Skip to Salubra, as well as saving Sly and getting another Grub here along the way.
Yeah, that Shade Skip to Salubra, important to note, is in Logic now, because in these upper bracket matches and in these best of 3s, we do have medium Logic as opposed to easy Logic. So Salubra could very well be progression, even if there isn't anything at False Knight, which we'll see soon from Mathulu.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a nice piece of divergence here, with Mathulu going to False Knight and Locust going to Salubra. Mathulu will have an advantage here in number of progression checks, because there are 3 in Logic here compared to the 2, with Sly and Salubra each being counted as 1. But shops are good for finding random goals, because those can just randomly be in shops regardless of progression.
And this board is, again, quite random, so the shops, fairly likely to have at least one of these goals here. And looks like Locus is not quite going to set up for that shade skip, but instead going to choose to check Sly first, finding a stag. I couldn't really tell which one.
I believe that was Green Path Stag, and it costs like 400 something geo. So that would be access to /2 shade gates. That would be a bit of a walk, and it might just be where progression is. So we might see Locus farming some geo here with breaking some geo rocks and crossroads, maybe killing a Husk Guard for 45 geo.
Yeah, he could potentially also just be looking towards, freeing a few grubs, maybe getting the checks, but also getting a bit of that geo from Grubfather.
Yeah, grubs are a decent source of geo that scales up as you get more and more grubs. I believe for 2 grubs you get like 30 geo or less, so it's not that worth it right now. But if you get up to 5, that's as much as like 100.
So nothing much at grubs. Mathulu able to pick up that Lifeblood Core. Again, sort of a soft hint towards that Abyss. Probably not going to be followed up on for quite a while, depending on where King's Brand is. And able to just pick up another Wanderer's Journal as his last check.
So it looks like there was nothing behind False Knight, so we're down to either Salubra or Go Mask Shard at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be that the intended progression is getting that Green Path Stag. Oh, and Locus taking an unfortunate death. It's a rough one this early.
There'll be a bit of time wasted as he goes back for a shade and presumably to continue farming for that Green Path Stag.
It looks like Mathulu also choosing to rescue a few grubs, which, I think makes sense. He doesn't necessarily know that what's at grubs. We know that there's not much there, but from Mathulu's perspective, that could very well house one of these random goals.
Yeah, it also is progress towards that 15 grubs goal.
Yeah. Looks like Locus is going to look towards a Green Path Stag. Mathulu potentially setting up for this shade skip. So could be either runner getting rewarded by choosing to diverge in their way.
I was just waiting for that Green Path Stag check itself to be progression, and for Locus to have to farm another 140 geo. Though with Green Path access, that's actually not too bad.
And Unbreakable Strength, quite helpful for some of these boss fights, but not necessarily progression, as Mathulu starts setting up for this shade skip up to Salubra, which is in logic.
Yeah, Locus so far has been playing this seed kind of like it's on easy, with not checking Go Mask Shard, not shade skipping the Salubra.
And if it does end up being the Go Mask Shard, that actually puts Mathulu at a pretty sizable advantage, especially if he chooses to check it first, because Locus did not get the Hot Springs bench, so he's going to have to take a bit of a longer trek all the way from Crossroads Stag if he wants to check that.
Yeah, I think it's almost always correct to get the Hot Springs bench when you're going through Crossroads, because it's so fast and saves you so much time when you want to go back for Go Mask Shard or going to Fungal. Looks like Salubra will
not
be a
found
bust.
at Salubra.
Yep, so Mathulu will be seeing this Green Path Stag at Sly. He might choose to go check Go Mask Shard first, because he might suspect that Locus is ahead of him, rightly so, due to him having done False Knight first.
Yeah, and we'll see, we're seeing kind of, at Locus going through all these Green Path checks, potentially moving towards Go Mask Shard being one of the few checks left in progression, and we'll see if Mathulu chooses to just farm Geo to go for it, or to potentially check that Mask Shard.
Looks like Mathulu is going to be doing the Grubs check here, also seeing that there's nothing, also maybe picking up Sharp Shadow, getting like a bit of Geo.
And it looks like Locus, though, is going to be first to this /2 shade gates, able to get the first one, and should be able to get past autopilot to see the second one in no time at all.
I'd be surprised if Locus managed to die enough times for Mathulu to catch up here to /2 shade gates.
Yeah, the interesting thing though is Locus, if he chooses to mark this goal and not hold it, which I think would be the kind of logical thing to do, that it does kind of give away that he followed this this kind of path towards green path as opposed to going back through crossroads. So it'll be interesting to see whether Mathulu, after seeing that goal marked, chooses to kind of go back towards Go Mass Charter, potentially Moloch, as being the source of progression.
Moloch isn't in logic. You need spicy skips to be on for that to be progression without
he
a
would
spell.
need a spell.
It looks like Mathulu is going to be following Locus here into green path, though he might choose to kill Hornet instead of going to lower green path, because that's a check that he can probably reason that Locus hasn't done, as Locus probably rushed the 2 Shade Gates.
That's true, and Hornet not being too difficult of a fight, but is sort of a very long check. Locus chose to skip it. We'll see if Mathulu also chooses to skip it.
Looks like Mathulu is going up to Hornet. Meanwhile, Locus giving all of us a heart attack.
Locus, he just loves to live dangerously. I don't know.
So besides this Queen Station check and this Hornet check, there's also oh, never mind.
Ooh.
I think that's our progression towards right side and resting grounds. I don't know how long it'll take Mathulu to get all the way down there.
Yeah, Mathulu is quite far away from there, and Trampass immediately is quite a few checks in resting grounds. You get the Dream Shield, the Stag itself, as well as the Dream Nail cutscene sequence. Not only that, getting to see what's at Essence with all these random goals is very valuable, because there's a good chance that some of these things, like Shops or Essence or Grubs, has random goals at it, but we haven't seen that thus far, so there's a good chance that there's something at Essence.
Yeah, especially with Dream Nail, it could even be there could even be progression at Essence with a spell somewhere, because I believe Dream Warriors are in logic without dash.
Yeah, I think we would need a spell, but if a spell is found, then we could see potentially that Essence being progression. As Mathulu breaks logic a bit to do this infection pogo. This is only in Spicy, as a lot of these infection pokos are, but shouldn't be too difficult, especially for such a seasoned runner as Mathulu. And he's going to be finding his way into right side in a very different way than Locus, but they'll both kind of end up in the same place.
Yeah, Mathulu has the advantage here of being able to go down to Kings and not being trapped in resting grounds, though Locus is likely to find some progression here in resting grounds. But it'll be interesting to see where Mathulu goes from here. He could do the kill 3 Great Husk Sentries goal, but that is extremely long with just Nail 0, though I guess Mathulu does have strength.
Yeah, and sort of the cool thing about Mathulu breaking logic here is he is going to have access to that. Locus, on the other hand, is going to have to wait either until he has dive or to kind of go follow in Mathulu's footsteps and get up to Blue Lake in order to get into Right Side City, which has both a goal as well as a few checks, even if they are out of logic.
In terms of cursed things cursed goals that Mathulu could rush here, there's also the visit Soul Sanctum or Royal Waterways goal, which Mathulu could do with a Shade Skip.
With that Shade Skip.
Oh wait, never mind. You do need wings or vertical to get up there in the first place. So ignore me, actually.
Mathulu is struggling a bit with this pogo. It is kind of an annoying one, but it looks like both our runners are going to be picking up their dive and using that to get into Right Side City, potentially.
Yeah, so Mathulu has very nicely avoided the need to go all the way down to Queen Station for that tram pass. But we'll still be behind a bit on all of these checks as Locus heads towards Right City, I would assume at least.
Yeah, I mean, Tram Pass also, potentially could be very useful for Locus later. It's a bit of an easier check Ismas tier compared to doing the Spike Tunnel, as well as just providing some of those checks and some of that movement a bit quicker.
Mathulu might have a bit of time to catch up here if Locus goes for that 3 Great Husk Sentries goal. But that will be at the cost of losing a goal to Locus.
Yeah, we'll see whether Locus chooses to rush it versus going to do checks. I think it's likely that he will look towards that goal.
By the way, was that 1 essence for Great Slash, or did I misread
it was three essence.
Okay.
So, only, 100 or so birds. Or, some of this essence from the seer tree.
Also, was it just me, or... Was it just me, or did Mathulu skip over the second to last check?
I don't believe he did. We did also see the Grim Child here. Ooh, and another fragment. Again, kind of pointing towards the abyss. Keeps calling. Yeah,
we're just missing King's Brand at this point, and then Birthplace Egg will be in Logic. Looks like Locus is going to be skipping the King Station gauntlet here. Pretty reasonable, given that it's very long. Though he does
very
have dive.
Long. And dive really, I think, is not the spell you want. I'd much rather have VS or Wraiths there. And he has not yet equipped the strength. Looks like Mathulu is going to be heading back for that Great Slash. We'll see if that pays off for him, as Locus did choose to skip it.
Yeah, Great Slash is half of a goal with obtain 2 nail arts on the board, but it is pretty easy to go back for. Well, I think I know where progression is, though I don't know. It could still be too early to say that. It could be a gigantic bait, but I think it's pretty likely.
It's pretty likely. Everything in the seed seems to be pointing towards it.
Looks like Locus will be going for this Great Husk Sentries goal here. I assume that's what that Pogo was for, that and the Grub. Yeah, it looks like he's getting started on killing them. That'll give Mathulu a bit of time to catch up.
Not the easiest with his setup, but Dive is not, it's certainly not a bad spell to have versus these sentries. It's better than Wraiths, I would say. Looks like Locus kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone here, able to get the Grub as well as the Sentry, and hopefully will not die to this Sentry again, as he did yesterday. Looks like he's able to get it.
So Locus will almost certainly be getting this goal here. And then after that, it'll be a race towards waterways, I would assume. With that simple key both of them have, that goal is very much available to them. Locus is a bit ahead, but if Locus decides to check Rafters and Lemeg instead of rushing it directly, Mathulu might beat him to it.
And if both players decide to check Rafters and Lemeg, I think Mathulu would have the advantage. I believe he can lever skip into Lem's quarters. Although, actually, never mind, because in case he can't get up from there.
Yeah, Mathulu has the advantage for getting to Lem, then Mathulu does have to stop by Lem at the fountain to talk. Though,
true,
I don't know if that's faster or slower than this cutscene for Locust. I think probably slower. Meanwhile, they both seem to be farming some geo, eyeing that King's Brand at King Station, probably. And it looks like Locus is going to make the decision to snag this 3rd goal here in Waterways. Going to put him behind on these city checks, but as long as there's nothing here, it'll be very good for Locus as a 3rd goal.
Yeah, I think given how many random obtains there are on this board, I think rushing these few static goals makes a lot of sense because it's that many fewer checks that you have to get late in the game.
Yeah, it looks like Mathulu will barely have enough money to go and afford that King's brand. And he might be thinking about doing just that after getting these 2 city checks.
Mathulu heading up to Raptors, whereas Locus is continuing on through waterways. Able to find another simple key. Potentially could be looking towards that Pleasure House.
Yeah, we've had several races recently where Pleasure House was progression, and one racer got screwed over by not checking it.
Oh, Soul Catcher, that's a nice charm to have. And we'll see kind of where Locus chooses to go. He definitely has a few directions he could go. He could go buy that King's brand. He could go check Pleasure House. Go kind of continue in City. World is his oyster at this point.
I think the worst case for Locus here is if progression is at Soul Catcher.
Oh, and there's Claw from Mathulu.
Yeah, that's actually
all of a sudden. That is a
worse.
huge shift. We'll see when Locus goes back for it. He's right now quite a bit of ways, and he could be baited by some of these other these other directions. It's like that's one of them.
Locus is going to be taking this King's brand into Abyss, it seems.
Overcharming the King Soul. You'd love to see that.
Yeah, and worth noting, Locus has to put that on here because he does not have any money to afford the toll bench in Basin.
And he can't even get up to the hidden station bench because that would require either both forms of vertical 1 plus a shade skip, and he has neither. Mathulu gonna check kind of some of these. I think he might have started over charming and then not. Okay. He's going to Pleasure House first.
So it looks like Mathulu will be getting this Oro Scarecrow goal here, and perhaps even heading up to the Hollow Hot Spring. That's some pretty good setup for Hollow Zote later and Spore Shroom later as well. And will be some quick goals for Mathulu here.
One of kind of the advantages of the fact that Mathulu hasn't marked any goals yet is that Locus doesn't know where Mathulu is. So even though he will know at this point that Mathulu has some form of vertical, he's not necessarily going to know where Mathulu got it. And we'll see kind of how long it takes Locus to go check Lemeg, whether he maybe gets baited by Go Mask Shard or a Hornet or some of these other checks.
Yeah, I might, if I were Locus, I might suspect that like Mathulu found Claw somewhere at like Go Mask Shard or False Knight, and then took a long time doing the Claw only shade skip to right side, and that's why he was slow getting here.
Locus going to get this check, not in logic without dash, but is able to get it pretty easily and finds a Mask Shard for his troubles.
Looks like Mathulu is going straight for this Oro Scarecrow, not even going to get the bench first. Pretty sensible, given that he knows Locus has been to City, and
Locus struggling a bit versus Basin sentries.
I think Locus is screwed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty rough for Locus. Gotta feel bad to see Mathulu mark a vertical lock skull just as you die in an awkward place.
I mean, that's a tough room without any kind of movement there, like a dash or a claw or something. Those husks, those sentries they're no joke.
Yeah. And it looks like Mathulu is going to be continuing to upper edge here. Probably going to get the Kalo Hot Spring goal, get some checks along the way. It'll be interesting to see if he attempts the claw-only Aspid Pogo over to Hornet bench. That one is a pretty content skip.
That one's a real pain because you can't just go the Aspid to the first level and then dash and claw to the other ones. You have to kind of get the Aspid in a good position for all 3 levels that you have to skip up. So we'll see if Mathulu chooses to go for it.
I've seen Mathulu do it several times on stream, so I'm sure he's vaguely comfortable with it at least. And it looks like Locus will be getting his claw here at Lemeg, assuming he doesn't die again to double damage boosting on accident.
And actually, the kind of funny thing for Locus here is he's not really going to be at that much of a deficit for not having his Shade here, because he already spent all his Geo. He also, I believe he's able to pick up a few relics, so he's going to get back more Geo from Lem than will have gotten by going back and getting his Shade.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where Locus goes after getting this Claw. Bow to Moss Prophet is a pretty strong option as it gets you towards Deep Nest as well, which you'll eventually want for things like Carefree Melody, just like Grubs, because Deep Nest is pretty dense in that, and eventually Kalo Zote as well. We could also see Crystal Crawler Journal entry, since they do have Dive for the Peaks access, and they can get the journal, though that will be just a bunch of walking mostly.
Oh, Mathulu able to pick up his D-Dark as Locus gets his Claw. D-Dark certainly quite helpful for some of these bosses. And we'll see where Mathulu chooses to go after he gets this Kalo Hot Springs goal.
Clearly, the play is to rush into Deep Nest for Moss Prophet, though it looks like Locus is going to be first to that, and rush straight for Kalo Zote.
Yeah, hopefully Mathulu doesn't get baited too hard by this. It is quite a long goal for Locus, and potentially if he's kind of halfway through and Mathulu follows him, then it'd be quite a waste of time for Mathulu.
I think Mathulu probably isn't going to go for... I would expect him to go for Crystal Crawler Journal entry first, because he's so far away from Moss Prophet without the Queen Station bench.
That's true, yeah. Although the one good thing for Mathulu, if he does go for that goal, even though he will get locked out, it means he probably will find the Tram Pass, and that could be very helpful later.
Yeah.
But we'll see where he chooses to go after he gets this goal.
So it looks like Mathulu is warping to Green Path. Not completely clear where this is going. Could be towards the journal, towards Queen Station. Though if he were going for Moss Prophet, I would expect him to go through Leg Eater instead with Infection.
Mathulu also having that Great Slash could just be going straight to QG. Potentially maybe checking Wraiths or Autopilot along the way, but
oh, that's a pretty good point.
That entrance is available to him, and immediately it's a goal just with the visit QG.
Yeah, looks like Locus might be thinking again about getting back his Shade and going to check Birthplace Egg, which is absolutely screaming progression right now, that we already did find Claw.
And now, actually, he does have the Geo to get that toll bench. He won't have to go this whole way being overcharmed. He also has Claw potentially to get the Hidden Station bench if he chooses to do so, but I don't think he will.
Hidden Station is not doable right now because the Shade Skip requires Fireball as well.
That's true. He doesn't have Fireball. Content dreams are ruined.
Oh, Chop brings up a good point. Locus does have Tram Pass, so he could have gotten Tram Bench all along.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. But it looks like he will get one of these benches and then potentially look towards the Abyss, both for that that goal as well as the checks that he can get. Mathulu finding an arcane egg. That's quite nice for him later if he gets back to Lem.
Yeah, but there aren't actually that many geo goals on this board, which is pretty strange. Lots of boards tend to have things like spend 4K, buyouts, one shop or other, like buy some rancid eggs from shops for that goal, things like that. But there's basically none of that here.
Yeah, we haven't yet seen what's at the fountain, and we haven't seen Leg Eater, but besides that, we have seen most of the things that do require Geo. We're about to see the fountain right now. And I couldn't see. I couldn't tell what was at the fountain, but, probably nothing.
The title text is very annoying indeed. So Mathulu will be getting this QG goal here, bringing it up to 4-3, still pretty even, though with what's bound to be a very good check here at Birthplace Egg. Locus might be ahead.
Nice. Looks like Locus probably going to be bringing this up to 5-3 shortly with that Swim and Avoid pool. Now, I don't believe Locus did find that Lifeblood Charm. I'm not sure if he did.
I think that was at False Night, yeah. And I completely forgot about the Void Pool goal. That's a very good call. But yeah, Locus will be getting that here.
Locus is informed about the quicker way to do this. Now, you can also get it by doing the lighthouse climb and lighting up the lighthouse and swimming there. But that's quite a bit longer, and Locus able to get the shorter one. Kind of a little known skip, but quite helpful for this goal, especially in Lockout.
Looks like Mathulu might be thinking of going to Peaks here for that Crystal Crawler journal entry goal. I think that's a pretty good play, especially with how many grubs are in Peaks and also near the journal in Green Path. You get to work towards that 15 grubs goal as well, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, Mathulu is a bit behind on that goal, but certainly with going to Peaks, if you want grubs, you go to Peaks is sort of the golden rule, and looks like Mathulu gonna following that and potentially getting quite a few more grubs along the way.
Yeah. Locus betrayed by Abyss. Meanwhile, Mathulu misses that egg. I believe he could have gotten it with Great Slash as an air stall, but I'm not sure. I know with like VS and Wraiths it works, so I'm pretty sure you could do it with Great Slash.
This is interesting. Locus going to get the journal, Mathulu going to actually kill a Crystal Crawler, so both runners kind of getting half of this goal. We'll see which one manages to pick up the other half more quickly. I believe it'll be Mathulu. Yeah,
I think Mathulu is both further ahead in getting this goal, unless he decides to go all the way to CG1 for the bench first. Also, worth noting, Locus picked up the journal first.
Oh, and there's the Dream Gate. That is a random goal, as well as bringing Mathulu closer to that Kill a King's Mold goal.
Yeah.
So that's quite nice for him.
Yeah, anyways, like I was saying, with getting the journal first, you spend more time in the journal animation, because I'm pretty sure you're allowed to mark the goal as soon as you pick up the journal, otherwise. So Mathulu will have that advantage as well. And looks like Locus here is going to be saving these grubs as well before continuing on to Peaks. So we'll be pretty far behind on this goal.
We'll see. Now this grub is kind of a pain without Ash, but Mathulu able to make it work. Picks up another grub for his efforts, which brings him all the more closer to that 15 grubs goal.
I would like to see Mathulu warp out and go straight for the journal, but it looks like he's getting CG1 bench first.
Too.
So this might be
quite close.
I think Locus might be ahead now.
No, and Locus, though, if he dies, he's no longer ahead.
Yeah, even if he takes a bunch of time. Yeah, even if he takes this time healing, though, that might decide it as well. It looks like Mathulu is going straight for CG1, not checking Chop Key, and is probably going to warp out for the journal right after getting this bench. So honestly, I don't know.
It is going to have the Dream Nail and the D-Dart to make this a bit faster. Oh, this is going to be very close.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Mathulu just put down a dream gate, with the dream gate he picked up, and then go straight to the journal there. It looks like Mathulu isn't even going for the goal,
Yeah, I think he
unless
might
I'm
just
missing
be.
something.
I think he might just be assuming that Locus is somewhere else entirely, or maybe just getting
Oh,
that
he's
this one
warping out.
last
Okay.
check. Oh, this is going to be so close.
Yeah.
I think Locus is slightly ahead here. It also depends on when Mathulu
Lucas still
marks
has
the
to go
goal.
all the way up this room, and like Mathulu is also like both of them are one room transition away. So I'm not actually sure though. It looks like Mathulu's getting this grub first, and that might actually put him far enough
I think,
behind.
yeah, the
Yeah,
grub will be
okay,
the
Lucas has
difference
got it.
there. Yeah, there, he's got it, and does mark it, bring him up to 6-4.
Yeah, Mathulu's got to be kicking himself there. He spent so much time doing things that he didn't strictly need to do instead of rushing that.
But at the end of the day, that's Lockout for you, and Locus just being slightly faster is able to get a huge advantage.
Yeah.
He also picks up the Joni's Blessing. That's quite helpful later for if he wants to revisit Abyss, because that's going to get him into the Lifeblood Core room without having to do any Dream Gates shenanigans or getting the hidden station. Mathulu checking well. I believe this is a new check. Only able to find Long Nail. Locus, even though he's at 1 health, is able to just Dream Nail and D-Dark the Crystal Guardian.
Locus only has regular dive, not D-Dark.
Yeah, just regular dive, so it's going to take a bit longer than Mathulu did.
Yeah.
Mathulu
So
finds his Lifeblood Core.
Looks like after this, they're just going to be back to doing checks to find progression. Mathulu doing a bunch of these quick checks like the right side of crypts, soul catcher, things like that. I wonder when someone will go back for the dash that's clearly at Go Mask Shard.
Yeah, we have seen that stay kind of unchecked for a while, and it is in logic. Both runners kind of at a dead even in terms of grubs. So we'll see whether our runners choose to rush that or potentially look towards some of these other goals.
Yeah, they need 7 to 8 more grubs, and that's pretty long with without a dash, especially since they've already gotten the Stone Sanctuary grubs. This looks like maybe massive Moss Charger from Mathulu. Might be thinking about doing checks
Yeah, I believe
near
this is
where
a new
grubs are.
check. Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense, kind of being able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Just doing random checks as well, fairly likely to net Mathulu a goal, given how many random obtains are still on the board.
Actually, this looks like going back down into Fungal, or towards Queen Station into Fungal. I'm surprised Mathulu is choosing to do that instead of going from Leg Eater.
Yeah, he'll probably pick up his tram pass here. I think he may be assuming that Locus found some form of progression there, which I think is reasonable given the fact that Locus kind of just beat him to those Great Husk sentries, that he might have found like Dash, for instance, to get a quicker Shade Skip.
Yeah, but he will be seeing the tram pass here, and that does pretty much explain how Locus got there first.
Yeah, and the tram pass kind of not being as useful now that both runners have gotten into RG, but potentially could be useful. It is, if nothing else, it's a pretty quick grub with, I guess it's not really a quick grub with from the NOS grub now because our runners can't get there too quickly, but it is access to a few more.
Looks like Mathulu's going to be doing some water waste checks here. I'm surprised to see still no one has gone over to Leg Eater for those checks.
Yeah, we could potentially see Mathulu kind of skip up into Fungal this way. That would be a new check by virtue of Dash Master potentially also moving towards those Mantis Lords, even if it's not the easiest to kind of move all throughout that way without Dash.
Does look like Locus is going to be farming grubs here for the 15 grubs goal. Not sure I agree with this play with just Claw. I think doing checks for progression might be stronger here.
Yeah, we'll see if Mathulu also gets baited into checking Pleasure House. That simple key. Looks like he is. Not going to be too long of a detour for him, but we already know from watching Locus that it's nothing there. So looking kind of at the board, it's interesting to see kind of where we are yet in terms of some of these goals. You know, defeat Kalos out. You know, Mathulu having the advantage in terms of having that bench. But a lot of these are still just random goals, and a lot of them being either dash locked or sort of very much a lot easier with dash.
Or double dash locked with Dreamnail White Lady.
As well as defeat Markoth.
So it looks like we will be seeing that Go Mask Shard now that both our racers left behind earlier. Meanwhile, Locus is up to 13 grubs, but I believe has gotten most of the easy grubs that he can reach.
Mathulu kind of quite far behind in terms of the number, but certainly going to have some of these grubs can be a bit easier as he finds Void Heart. So Seed once again kind of baiting towards Abyss, even if it may be nothing.
That Void Heart does put more Abyss checks in Logic.
It's true, it does put those Shade Cloak Egg into Logic, as well as being quite a bit easier. You know, you don't have to go do that whole Lighthouse climb. You can just kind of walk towards it.
Yeah, it also puts Shade Cloak itself in Logic.
We'll see where Mathulu chooses to go here. Looks like he's heading into Fungal. Not sure where he's going to go in Fungal. If he maybe chooses to go to Leg Eater versus going to Spore Shroom and maybe Deep Nest on the way. He could potentially be rescuing Zote. That would put him, you know, towards getting some progress towards that Colo Zote goal.
Locus not informed about hitting the grub to the floor. You hate to see it.
Yeah, I ran into this problem a bit with Super Drunk Pit. Is that last section is quite hard without dash. Locus potentially will be getting a different grub as he heads into Cliffs. I don't think there's any way, Locus being at 14 grubs, I don't think there's any way Mathulu can snipe this goal.
Looks like Mathulu will be going into Deep Nest. He might be thinking about taking the tram from there to Basin instead of taking the long walk from Kings.
This also potentially could be a Grimchild check. I think Locus can check everything in Cliffs except for the Stag Nest. Of course, Joni's being quite difficult with that lantern, but I believe should still be possible with Claw. Now Mathulu getting that 1 in 4 chance, pretty impressive by him to figure out which one was real. Looks like Locus is kind of in full-on grub rush mode here. From his perspective,
yeah.
We know that Mathulu only has 10 grubs, but from Locus's perspective, Mathulu could be at 14 grubs on his way to 15. Is able to pick up that goal and push himself up to 7-4.
Yeah, it makes sense for Locus to just rush straight for that grub. It's not too slow to come back for the rest of the checks later.
Let's see what's at Boulder Shell. Just a rancid egg. We're able to find the dupe claw here at Cyclone Slash.
Dupe claw and cliffs, you love to see it.
Claw locked on this level of logic, but now he knows that he was that he found the right one over at Lebank that Mathulu also found. Locus choosing to go for Gorb here, I think kind of makes sense given that he saw the Grim Child at Essence.
How much Essence was that? I forgot.
I think it was like 500 or so.
Okay. That's a lot to get started on with Gorb.
Mathulu looks like he's getting on the tram, potentially moving towards Hive and getting into Edge as well.
Yeah, I think this is just Mathulu going over to Abyss.
This is just Basin, never mind. Looks like he's going to head to Abyss. He is going to have access to a few checks in the Lifeblood room. Just one check, I guess, in the Lifeblood room that Locus technically had access to, but didn't have it in Logic, and certainly didn't have it very easily. But having a Lifeblood Charm or Dreamgate or the Hidden Stag.
Chat informing us that actually it was 251 Essence for Grimchild, so that makes sense, getting Gorb.
That makes a lot more sense than Locus choosing to skip lighting the lantern, which I think makes a good amount of sense if you're already kind of looking towards getting that Grimchild very quickly. As he finds a Cyclone Slash. Be helpful, potentially. We have seen 2 already, so if NMG is something, then Locus is probably closer to that than Mathulu is.
This is also that 2 Nail Arts goal that's on the board.
As well as that 2 Nail Arts goal. I completely forgot about that, but that is going to bring Locus up to 8 goals. Definitely a big advantage. Yeah,
but still not insurmountable, given that they're pretty much even on progression, and Mathulu has a bit of advantage with Dreamgate and D-Dark. As well as, of course,
not out of this yet.
Yeah. Also, I suspect that these Abyss checks might be something, and that Mathulu will be a bit ahead here as well.
Mathulu able to make his way up through this Lifeblood core room. Let's see if he gets rewarded for his efforts.
Pogo's not trivial.
Locus chooses to check Hornet. We know it's nothing, but it's going to be kind of a weight off Locus's shoulders to know that he didn't get a lockout of something early on that Mathulu had access to. Able to pick up his Monomon. We have only seen one kind of logical Dreamer. We did see the dupe, but that isn't logical access towards Black Egg. But at the same time, even if it's not in Logic, could potentially be looking towards one of those random obtains in Black Egg Temple. going to find this NMG that Locus already found. So Locus looks to be moving more towards peaks.
Mathulu accidentally falling back in, trying to avoid that sibling.
Luckily he does have the claw his way back up there, but going to take a bit of a time loss there as he moves towards these shade cloak checks.
Wayward Compass for Locus. I don't see how Mathulu can possibly come back from that overpowered turn.
I don't believe Locus can get out of there. Just claw. I believe he would need either dash or potentially some kind of air stall. But able to warp out and shouldn't take too long to walk back. Both runners kind of giving us novel checks here. Both of these are areas that we haven't already seen. So,
of course,
see
Mathulu's area. Of course, Mathulu's area here is a bit superior to Peaks, with Abyss always being the play, even when it's huge bait.
Here we go. More bait. Queen Station Stag.
And the Rancid Egg.
The Rancid Egg.
I'm sure Abyss Drake will bail us out once they find Wraiths. I don't believe this is possible from Locus.
Yeah, I think you would need a fireball here.
Yeah, I know.
Low percent style.
Yeah, low percent does it with fireball, but
Mathulu able to get this infection pogo. Now, all of this is in logic. Even though the infection pogo isn't logical, he would have logical access going the other way, which is kind of to me, that's a very kind of cool play patterns when you kind of break logic to get to a logical area faster. That's Mathulu doing here. See if he is rewarded with something nice from Leg Eater. Shaman Stone, that's kind of nice.
Yeah, but Mathulu does not have the Geo to afford it. And it isn't progression, no matter how nice it is. Unlike Wayward Compass, which is progression, definitely.
Progression towards winning the game, and looks like both our runners kind of meet up, give each other a high five around Drumal Ogres.
Mathulu slightly ahead, especially with that D-Dark.
It's a random obtain. This could that kind of small time advantage could be very huge for Mathulu. It looks like it is just a vessel fragment. Looks like Mathulu's heading up. Potentially could be looking towards that Dash Master and Mantis Lord's check, or could just be looking towards this last Waterways egg.
Yeah, I'm surprised Mathulu. I guess if Mathulu's comfortable enough, or I guess no, he doesn't need to do any skip even coming this way. Never mind. Yeah, I forgot with Claw you can just go up here. Not used to having Claw in my randos.
Locus able to make the jump. It's a pretty tight jump, but Locus able to make it, and will see this and be able to even afford the Shaman Stone. So Mathulu just finds a Rancid Egg.
Lots of Rancid Eggs this seed, it seems. Nice nail art skip from Mathulu there, allowing him to avoid the best arena in the game.
Yeah, that skip is not as easy as it looks, especially with just great slash.
Homophily.
There is our dearest Homophily moment, bringing Mathulu up to 5 goals with that vanilla Dash Master. Love to see it.
This claw jump also is a bit unintuitive here.
Mathulu gonna be struggling a bit, but maybe we'll be able to get it eventually. Oh no, it does take a
Unfortunate.
death. Quite
think-
unfortunate.
I think Mathulu had to use a Great Slash there to air stall, but I'm not sure.
Looks like Mathulu gonna follow Locus into cliffs as Locus chooses to go towards Elderhu, looking potentially towards the Grimchild, both for 2 checks as well as the goal. This is certainly not an easy setup for Grim, but Locus should be able to make it work.
Yeah, Locus might be thinking, if Graham paid off last time, it'll pay off this time too, right?
So Mathulu just kind of repeating a few checks we've already seen from Locus. Isn't really going to be able to get anything new that we haven't seen, having not seen those wings yet. We'll see if Mathulu also chooses to farm Essence, though, if he's maybe also looking towards this goal, or if he's just in full-on checks mode.
Looks like he will be killing Gorg.
Will be
a bit
able to
faster with
do
D-Dark.
in pretty good work with D-Dark. It's not the void spell you would want against Gore, but Mathulu able to put it to good use regardless.
Meanwhile, Locus will be finishing up with 0, and that'll be enough for Grimchild. And we'll see whether he decides to immediately do Grim from there. I assume that's what you do, given that you've been spending all this time farming Essence with just Dive.
Yeah, we'll see potentially if the Grim check itself. I believe that is in logic, that we have seen 2 spells already, although perhaps not, given that they're D-Dark. I guess we're not really sure whether it's logical or not, but Grimchild potentially could be a good check itself. Even if it's not part of a logical progression chain, again, we have seen so many random goals on this board that be good regardless, as Mathulu brings himself up to a parity in terms of nail arts, having 2. I've not seen that dash slash yet, but NMG potentially looking like it could be something good.
There's Grimchild for Locus. I wouldn't say that I agree with this play that Locus is making of rushing this Grim fight, especially since without Distant Village Stag or Lantern, the trek over to Distant Village for that Carefree Melody goal is going to be very long. But I guess Locus is a fan of doing Grim early, as we've seen from last race.
Yeah, I mean, last race it paid off for him bigly, so we'll see if it does the same this race.
Looks like we're going to be seeing Mathulu going into Deep Nest here, going towards rescuing Zote for that Kalo Zote goal, as well as getting 2 checks here with Zote and Tram Pass, and maybe going to Dark Deep Nest as well. I would definitely support that play.
Looks like Locus having that unfortunate bug with Grimchild hopefully is going to avoid the soft lock here, and looks like he's able to respawn. Grimchild going to move towards fighting Grim himself. This is not a great setup to have for Grim, but Locus should be able to make it work.
I believe this is the exact same setup Locus had last time as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think Locus might have had Wraiths, something.
I think it was Dive.
Yeah, it might have just been Dive. Certainly not what you would like, but the Strength will be quite helpful, though.
I'm surprised Locus did not equip Shaman, though.
probably he plans to rely more on these nail hits, given that his only option for spell damage is that dive. Is not the easiest.
That's pretty fair.
As looks like Mathulu's moving towards that Hollow's out goal. Hollow not the easiest with his setup, but certainly should be able to finish it.
Did we see what was in Hollow? I think if it were something like Dash, I think it would definitely be worth it to go for Hollow right now. But I don't know about going for that if it's just a rancid egg.
And this is something that, if it is progression, it's something that Locus has not seen because he hasn't been up there yet.
Oh, and there's C-Dash. That's huge.
Oh, and there's C-Dash. That is huge. You know, not only for moving, you know, a few things like check glowing womb in logic and also being a lot easier, but also just kind of getting around, getting to these goals, getting to these checks, being quite a bit faster with C-Dash.
Yeah, so this will be check glowing womb for Mathulu. Check Isma's Tira as well, I believe is possible. Maybe? I'm not actually sure.
With Tram Pass, I think he can do it pretty easily.
You do need a acid skip still, right? And I think that's pretty hard, if not impossible, with just claw and no dash or wings.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure. We could potentially see that. I'm not sure what kind of skip it requires and how difficult it is. But even if it is a difficult skip, I think Mathulu is certainly quite well versed in some of those difficult skips. So we could be seeing some content.
Oh, Mothi brings up a good point. Mathulu could kill Dung Defender instead of opting to try for that acid skip. And also another good point, Fluke Hermit is also doable now for Mathulu.
Mathulu going towards that 6 goal. Ooh, and a Shopkeeper's Key. We'll see if this is
progression.
You know, because Glowing Boom was in logic with C-Dash. So Locus hopping with excitement. He's so excited to finally be done with this Troop Master Grim fight. We'll see. A lot of Geo
for Mathulu to help compensate for the death he took, but no progression.
Dung Defender's Charm, which may put him towards that Dung Defender check as well.
Is Mathulu really doing Coliseum now?
I think he might be. You know, with D-Dark, it's not that bad, but it is still pretty bad.
I'm very surprised he's choosing to do this instead of Fluke Hermit or something else.
Yeah, I guess from Mathulu's perspective, you know, Locus hasn't marked a goal in a while. He was busy with that Troop Master Grim fight, so potentially, you know, Locus could be right on his tail. From that point of view, I think it does make sense, as Locus is moving towards the Malek. Certainly is in logic, you know, having that D-Dark available to him, but we'll see whether it is anything.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Mathulu isn't going for something as easy as Fluke Hermit. Maybe his plan was to do Kalo and finding Kalo Zote, like when he went over to do Zote, and finding that C-Dash was unexpected, and so he didn't really plan for it, and only thought of Glowing Womb as an easier goal that opened up, and not Fluke Hermit.
I'll look at Best Weaver song. Locus not going to be rewarded. Maybe checking Go Math Chart here as well. I believe it was just Mathulu that checked it, and we'll find his Void Heart if he does so. But both are this match is going to be kind of at a lull for a little bit as Mathulu moves towards completing this Kalozote goal and Locus kind of repeats a few checks.
Chat brings up a really good point, actually. Mathulu might be doing this in order to disincentivize Locus from ever going to check Zote, and therefore making it much more likely that Locus never finds C-Dash.
It's a good point, although it may also kind of work the other way, that Locus seeing a check glowing womb immediately into the defeat Colozote may assume that that C dash is, if not at the Zote check, somewhere around it. We'll see kind of how Locus chooses to play that once he sees that goal get marked.
Yeah, though another interpretation of that could be something like, I don't know, Zote had VS or something. That gave Mathulu Shade Soul.
Mathulu doing quite well with this follow, considering how light he is on actual damage with this setup. Able to dish out pretty good damage and mostly staying out of trouble. Did take a bit of damage there, but for the most part he's been staying relatively healthy.
Yeah, making some good use of Cyclone Slash for his soul collection.
Locus going to be repeating this check that we saw from Mathulu. Interestingly enough, from Mathulu now having that C dash, he can actually go and check the Rancid Egg, or the Arcane Egg in Lifeblood Core.
Okay, that is
we'll see if he does choose to go back to that.
That is now 100% where progression is.
Could be a logical dash.
Yeah, very well could be.
Dash being, 2 goals here, Dream Note White Lady and defeat Markoth locked behind not 1, but actually 2 dashes. Dash being quite strong on this board, especially if it's a dash at a location that your opponent is unlikely to get to anytime soon.
Okay.
Looks like Locus is going to be doing False Knight here, seeing the Lifeblood Heart and not much else that Mathulu found.
Locus finally going to be checking False Knight. I believe not going to be finding anything really of note here.
Having all three play charms is always nice.
It's true. One question that I'm really interested in finding out is where the other Dream Nail is, because Locus has 1, Mathulu has 2, and we will need to see 3 for this Kill a King's multiple if that becomes a tiebreaker. Because Locus, it was at the Sea-Peak's Darkroom Egg, which is not a particularly cursed check, but Locus might not go back there for a while, having not seen,
especially since he's skipped it.
Having already been to Peak.
So Mathulu will be finishing up Kalo here. Will be a 7th goal for him. I hope he remembers to go back for Fluke Permit now.
Yeah, potentially could be tying it up at 8-8. This match could be going on for quite a while, given how close it's been thus far and how many random obtains there are on the board. Mathulu having now getting to 7 with being closer to getting his 8th goal. Locus at 8 being closer to getting that Carefree Melody goal. We could be here quite a while. Still have to defeat Colozote. Not an easy task. He is a knight of great renown.
Yep. Mathulu showing extremely impressive skills here with Colozote. Not many people know how to use the pogo.
Mathulu able to pick up 7 goals here. We'll see where Locus is heading next. Could be moving towards Watchers. Could just be finishing up some of these city checks. We haven't seen Soul Sanctum yet. That is potentially another area that we could go check.
Looks like Mathulu might be getting this Great Hopper Relic that he left behind earlier, possibly. Don't know where else this could be.
It's a pretty fast check. and could very well be something nice. A Paylor, that's kind of nice. It's not really on this board, but
yeah. Now that he's already done Kalos out, and this
like
does look like
Locust
the
moving
Fluke Hermit
towards-
play for Mathulu. Could follow that up
looks like
with
a Watcher
Nail
play
Upgrade.
for it's like the Watcher play from Locust. So both players are moving towards a progression of their own. We'll see if Mathulu chooses to go to Fluke Marm. Not a great setup. You don't really want D-Dark. Unlike in
It's
1-2-2-1, you can't just
horrible.
kind of sit on her with D-Dark.
It's not horrible though, and it is in logic with D-Dark, so he very well might choose to do
True.
it. But it looks like he might be
Looks like
rushing
he's,
straight for Fluke Hermit first, which is pretty respectable. Yeah.
You know, again, Mathulu has no idea where Locust is. Locust hasn't marked a goal in quite a while.
Yeah, I think his
So
last one
it's-
was maybe 15 grubs, or maybe no, 2 nail arts. I think.
Yeah, and it might have been 2 nail arts, and that's kind of when Mathulu would have known probably that Locust was in Cliffs, but just kind of looking at the timestamps, that was 24 minutes ago, so certainly Mathulu being kind of in the dark as to Locust's position now. We have seen 2 simple keys so far. We haven't seen a third yet. Mathulu able to make up some of these platforms. A bit tricky without dash, but Mathulu able to make it work. As Locust struggling a bit against Watchers. This is not a great setup for them, but should be able to defeat this boss.
Definitely easier than low percent Watchers, I think, with the iframes that Dive provides, as well as Shaman. But still, no dash is pretty rough.
It looks like he's on the last two Watchers.
That'll be an 8th goal for Mathulu as well.
Yep, Mathulu moving it up to the big number 8, tying it up 8-8 with Locust, and both our runners just kind of looking, hoping for some of these random checks now. Mathulu, I suppose, could potentially look towards. Ooh, and there's wings for Locust. That's pretty huge. Doesn't immediately get him anything, but it is going to make moving around a lot faster. And if one of these random obtains is somewhere like Willow's Meal or Fungal Core, it's going to be quite a bit, faster for him to get. And Mathulu potentially could never go back for Watchers.
Yeah, though though Mathulu is a fan of Watchers. So interesting movement sets here with C-Dash versus Wings, and there's Dreamgate for Locust.
And there's another Dream Nail.
If Locust goes back and checks that Peaks Darkroom Egg, he will be able to get that kill a King's Mold goal, especially with Claw and Wings for getting up to Hidden Station.
Yeah, now the Watcher Knight's certainly very stacked. Mathulu might not go back for them, and certainly, if he doesn't go back for them, he's going to be hurting a lot for some of those checks. And just a crossroads stag at Willow's Meal. Nothing much.
Looks like Mathulu's heading.
We have not.
It looks like Mathulu's heading over to Isma's Grove now, looking to check Isma's. Looks like he's planning on doing the Shade Skip. We'll see how well he can pull that off, or whether he needs to do Dung Defender.
So Locus able to make its way up to Stag Nest. Let's see what he finds there. Don't believe you can just fall off that platform and get onto the lower ledge, but I may be wrong.
Locus finding his
So
own
Locus able to find
version.
his own D-Dark.
Mathulu
Oh,
showing
that
some fireball skips.
Mathulu
Very
is so
impressive.
smart.
And he will be
That's
able to
not-
get this.
Oh, no,
Check
that is
Isma's
right.
tier goal.
Wow, that's very impressive. I thought for sure Mathulu was too low, but able to get that jump perfectly and brings himself up to his 9th goal.
Also pays off with QG Stag. Pretty nice for Dreamnail White Lady eventually. And might be progression if there's an Isma somewhere.
Queen's Garden Stag also means that once he finds his 2 dashes, he's going to be quite a bit closer to that Dreamnail White Lady goal.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to be doing Marmu here for that Grimchild, though. Locus has already done Grimchild.
It's also, you know, getting this Queen's Garden bench, I think, is a pretty fast way into Deep Nest if he wants to go to Distant Village for that Carefree Melody.
Yeah, he might
Probably
be
a
looking to
bit
do that
faster
right
going
now.
through Sports Room. One thing also that we haven't yet seen is Mantis Lords. So it'll be interesting to see when, if ever, our runners choose to check that.
Yeah, Mathulu went over there to try do Mantis Village checks, but unfortunately died trying to get the Preda bench.
Locus going to do CG2, kind of moving towards these quick wings lock checks, or kind of soft wings locks checks, as probably would not be seeing the shade skip up there unless it was a goal.
Yeah.
May also go to Crown there. It's a bit of a pain without dash, but with claw wings shouldn't be too difficult. So
Mathulu having a bit of
struggling
trouble.
Come back here.
Mathulu having a bit of trouble with this relic here. I don't know if he realizes he can use C dash to reach there. I believe you can at least, but it looks like he's going to try a fireball.
It looks like he's going to be trying that fireball skip. Interesting. Just going to be moving back, trying to get a little more soul for that. Taking quite a while, but we'll probably be able to get it eventually. It looks like Locus is heading with that Hive Blood potentially towards Hive. Finally figures out
Oh,
that he
there's
can.
Spore Shroom.
Indeed.
Mathulu
Oh, there's Spore Shroom.
much rewarded.
That's a random obtain.
Yep. Though Mathulu will have to equip it. Yeah, I think he realizes.
He goes right back. Sort of like when you leave the house, you realize you didn't put your mask on. You have to rush back in to put it back on.
Oh yeah, that's
Luckily,
happened so
Mathulu
many times to me.
Luckily, Mathulu gonna put it back on, keep himself safe with the Spore Shroom.
I think Spore Shroom is more akin to infection than a mask.
It's probably true, yeah.
So Mathulu will need to do a bit of a mild skip here. It's not considered quite a spike tunnel because it's fairly easy, as you can see there, with Mathulu pulling it off first try.
Yeah, that one's
then
kind of a
it'll be
pain
a-
without dash, but Mathulu able to make it through.
Yeah, the left side is harder because it has spikes on both the top and bottom sides, as opposed to just the bottom.
Yeah. With the right side, you can just kind of pogo whenever and hit the wall.
So that'll be
Mathulu
a
gonna read this
10th goal
tablet.
here. who now firmly in the lead in goals, and pretty even on progression with C Dash versus Wings.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he goes to Watchers, then at that point he's very far ahead. We'll see though if he does choose to go there.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Locus has basically no reason to go over to into Deep Nests out for C Dash. And there's Shade Soul from
Shade Soul,
Mathulu.
that's quite
Nice
nice.
damage.
Thulu going to be trying for this tunnel here. Certainly not easy.
Yeah. It's much harder
Especially
than
with
the
this
right
great
side
hopper.
tunnel.
Especially with this great hopper kind of annoying him here, jumping on him.
That was pretty clean though, that third time.
Nice, nice. Able to go right through the tunnel. As Locus looks towards his Hive Knight. So this is, unlike kind of some of these other bosses we've seen, this is definitely a boss where D-Dark's quite good.
Yeah.
I gotta say D-Dark probably the spell you want the most versus Hive Knight.
Yeah, probably. Looks like Mathulu's looking to get his Grinchild here. Might be thinking about doing that Carefree Melody goal as his 11th. A lot of rushing of long goals here that we've seen.
Yeah, Locus kind of having more progression towards that, but if he doesn't go back and try to get it soon, then Mathulu could potentially get up to parity there and snipe the goal.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even sure if both of them warped out and went for it immediately. I'm not sure which of them would get there first, because Mathulu does have the advantage of having that Queen's Garden stag, making the trip to Dark Deep Nest quite a bit shorter. Meanwhile, Locus doesn't have anything in Deep Nest or anything near there. He would probably go from the tram.
Is going to be able to get that Spirit's Blade check. Locus was not able to get it with what he had when he visited here, but Thulu is able to get it and is rewarded with a simple key, unfortunately leading to nothing. We've already seen God Tuner.
Locus actually could have gotten it if he had gone all the way around Glade and dropped down from the top, but it
looks like Mathulu in full-on goal rush mode here, which he has been in for quite a while, and I think really has ended up paying off for him a bit as he's now up 2 goals with potentially moving towards being up 3 goals.
Yeah, definitely gotta respect rushing these long goals.
I think kind of overall, I think he's more likely to get Locus's 3rd Dream Nil than Locus is to get his. It's pretty close, but Watcher Knights being 3 checks versus the Peak Stark Room being just 1. Let's put that in a bit of a favor for Mathulu.
I think it really depends on if Locus goes back for Peak's checks, whether he remembers that he left behind that check.
The thing is, he's already been back to Peak twice. He went first that one time, both for the goal as well as for a few checks, and then again here for CG2, and neither time has he gone back for it. So I think at that point it's kind of very hard to sort of remember, where he missed, where he kind of left off. People want the grim music. Give the people what they want. Let it never be said that I do nothing for Twitch chat.
Locus struggling a bit off screen here, but manages to make it through Watcher's Spire. This is very interesting. I didn't realize the screen went dark if you walked to the left without going up when you got that visual glitch.
Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate camera things. But, that whole area is just very dark.
So Locus will be heading up to storerooms here and maybe Sanctum.
Sanctum and storerooms both would be fresh checks that have not been seen by either player. If you're looking towards one of those dashes or a lantern. or a dream nail, also finding either the dupe or perhaps even one of the intended ones, depending on where progression was.
Yeah.
You might
We
be
also
able to
haven't
get that kill a pink mold.
we haven't seen any wraiths so far, despite seeing 3 dives and 2 VSs.
Yeah, we haven't seen Wraiths or Shriek. We haven't seen Lurian. We're still looking for one more Dream Nail. This could very well, be a quite long game, depending on how hidden some of these things are. And the other thing is, this being on medium logic instead of hard, Wraiths is not necessarily going to be part of any progression chain in terms of a fireball skip, just in terms of these bosses. So it sort of makes it less likely that you're going to find one early.
Yeah. City Storeroom stag at City Storeroom Simple Key. Very useful find.
Mathulu gonna pick up this check here. I think it was a journal or something. Picks up his journal and looks like he's going right towards getting Carefree Melody here. Although he does choose to go through it via sort of the tram bench way as opposed to going from QG. He would have to either go around or do the arena, so I think it's about equal.
I think with D-Dark, the arena, D-Dark and Shade Soul, the arena is fast enough that I think that's better. Especially since you don't need to deal with climbing up the big Dark Deepness room with just Claw C-Dash, which can be annoying in my experience.
Yeah, that one certainly made quite a bit easier with wings.
Though Mathulu does have Dream Gate, so that should really help here.
Yeah, Dream Gate certainly means that, even if he does take a death, he's not going to be too far behind. He can just Dream Gate back. Mathulu making good use of some of these kind of stutter steps to move forward in a more safe way than just kind of moving towards or C-dashing.
Looks like he is going to check this egg down here.
Able to find a journal for his efforts.
Looks like he's also going to be dream nailing this devout here for some soul to heal.
It's sort of convenient for soul to heal as well as to make sure that you don't walk into it accidentally.
Yeah.
Locus.
Also, fortunately for Mathulu, his Grimchild has not decided to spawn right now, and therefore is not aggroing all of the devouts.
That would be quite annoying for him. The one really interesting thing here is if Mathulu finds a dash in Weaver's Den, could potentially point towards Lantern being a logical progression, part of a logical progression chain. So that would maybe point him more towards some of these things that he could have done earlier, right? Towards like Malek or, potentially some of these things in Fungal. So it'll be interesting to see kind of if he checks Weaver's Den and what conclusions he chooses to draw from there if he does find something nice.
Yeah. Looks like he's going to be skipping that for now. I don't know if he put down the Dream Gate, but he is going to be heading straight to Distant Village first. And putting a Dream Gate down here to come back for Beast 10, I would assume.
Or just to ensure that even if he falls, he's able to make it back up, because doing this without dash is not easy.
Brum staring over at the invisible Grimchild. You'd love to see it. So this will be an 11th goal for Mathulu. Very good.
11th goal. Needing 2 more.
Yeah. Lucas, unfortunately, will have wasted a lot of time farming that essence for Grim and doing the Grim fight without taking advantage of it. Perhaps not too comfortable with doing all of Dark Deep Nest with just Claw and Wings.
Yeah, I mean, Dark Deep Nest certainly is not easy, you know, and it's not in logic, you know, without Lantern.
Yeah, I definitely don't
It wouldn't be
blame him.
unreasonable for. Yeah, I definitely don't blame him either. It will end up being, you know, quite to his detriment in terms of this goal, as he does defeat Soul Master, and will find a few new checks along the way. Finds Carefree Melody and gets himself up to 11 goals.
And it looks like he is dream gating straight back to Beast Den for those checks.
Beast Den potentially could also go back for Weaver's Den.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing that first, actually. I guess that makes sense. Killing Devouts in Beast Den is not something you really want to do without Dash.
I have no idea what's going on in Mathulu's screen, but looks like he does, and that's going to be very much to his advantage.
He's C-dashing back over to the Big Rim now, and is about to drop down next to the Grub through this secret passageway. Meanwhile, it looks like Locus is heading over to Mantis Village, probably, for things like Mantis Lords, Fungal Core, those checks.
He's also going to Dream Nail this Devout. Oh no, he's just going to hit it. Is that a Devout?
That was not a Devout.
That was definitely not.
This is the Devout.
But that's the, okay. There we go.
Okay, yeah, that is okay. Mathulu unfortunately not able to get that platform. You have to, I believe you have to do a fireball skip or jump off the side of the platform.
And in the shortcut right now.
Yeah, and right now he's dropping down below the Grub, and this is the... Oh, I guess you can do it with C-Dash as well. But with Claw only, you'd have to do
there's Dash for Locus at
platform jump.
Mantis Village Journal.
Yeah, that's pretty big. That is progress towards both Dreamnail, White Lady, and Markoth, though, of course, he will need a second dash for that.
Yeah, and we haven't seen one yet. You know, it could potentially be anywhere.
Yeah, there could be two in Weaver's Den, even.
Could be two in Weaver's Den, that's true. We'll see, you know, if Mathulu does choose to go back. The one thing that might point Mathulu back towards there is being able to get his shade back.
Yeah, Mathulu taking that unfortunate death earlier next to Bretta bench. If he had gotten that bench and continuing into Fungal, he would have probably gotten that dash much earlier as well.
It's true.
I believe for this skip, you kind of want to C-dash into the wall and then Pogo after that. Kind of helps a bit. Yeah, like that.
Mathulu struggling a bit, should be able to get it eventually, and with Claw instead of Wings, isn't gonna fall once he gets it fully. There's Locus, I believe, getting a new check in Acid Bridge, just Stalwart Shell.
Looks like Mathulu is gonna warp out though.
Warping out.
Might be going to go do Beast Den now instead.
Could be, yeah. I mean, that's certainly Beast Den having access to there. Won't be able to the shortcut there, not having Wings, but we'll be able to check everything, I believe. Starting with the Stag.
There's, I believe, the fourth simple key we've seen.
I believe that
I
is
believe
the fourth
Mathulu's
one.
picked up all 4, in fact. Unfortunately, not very useful. I guess he could get his shade back from Gigi.
Oh, that's true. I hadn't thought about that. Looks like
I doubt
Locus.
he'll spend time
Actually,
on that, but
it looks like Locus, going back to Sea Peaks, he may be about to find his 3rd Dream Nail and get this Kill a King's Mold goal.
yeah, it all really depends on whether he remembers that Peak's Darkroom is something that exists and that he has yet to check.
Able to get the skip there. That one's not too easy. Oh, and Mathulu finds a race. That's quite important. It's the goal as well as one more check in Abyss.
Yeah, Abyss has been empty so far, but who knows? There could still be something at Abyss Streak or at the Lifeblood Core Egg.
Just
Might not be a
vanilla,
horrible
it's
idea for Mathulu to go back to that.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure it won't be a vanilla. I'm sure there'll be howling wraiths at Abyss Streak.
Yeah. The other advantage is that Locus is not likely to go back for a Beast Den, having already seen that Distant Village, that Carefree Melody goal get marked. Kind of assuming that Mathulu probably not going to find a random goal there.
Looks like
if the other race is, quite hidden, then that could be quite good for Mathulu.
and there's Underplat from Locus.
Underplat from Locus. We'll see if it leads to anything good at C-Dash.
A Pale Ore. Not too relevant,
good.
but not useless.
Mathulu, causing Fireborn a little shame by rescuing that grub.
Grubs deserve to be rescued, even when the goal is no longer available.
Mathulu playing it very safe against this Devout.
Yeah, it's pretty tough without Dash. Unfortunately, nothing other than that Wraiths and Beast Den, though, like you said, it could prove to be very important later. Meanwhile, it looks like Locust may have gotten an unfortunate white screen glitch.
Yeah, luckily, even with white screen,
with
you can still
Dreamgate?
use bench warp out, but definitely going to be a bit unfortunate for him, being a bit of a time loss. It looks like Mathulu is going to be heading back towards Abyss. Going to get these 2 new checks.
The Call of Abyss is pretty strong. There's Hera from Locus. So I believe
that is going to be Black Egg Temple.
Yeah, and that's all Dreamers that aren't Lurian now.
Yeah, it's sort of a Murphy's Law,
Yeah, whenever there's
one of the more famous laws that have been mentioned on this stream.
Yeah, including Cole's Law.
Exactly, yeah. One of my favorites.
Oh, and there's NMG for Mathulu.
Here we go. That is very exciting.
Suddenly, both of our runners are finding all of the sets of 3 with Awoken Dream Nail, 3 Dreamers, and NMG all being found all at once.
Looks like this is going to be that 9th goal for Locus with Kill a King's Mold. That being one of the few checks left that the things left that isn't either locked behind Shade Cloak or just a random obtain. And let's see if NMG is fruitful.
And it's Stag Nest Stag. I believe we've
Stag
already
Nest
seen
Stag.
that from Locust, though,
I've
unfortunately.
already seen that from Locust, with wings. Yes. Unfortunately, I believe he can. Oh no, yeah, he can't. He can't get that VS. Since he doesn't have C dash. But is still nice to know about.
So it looks like Abyss will be a bust this time, unless there is perhaps something hiding at Void Heart, though I kind of doubt we'll see that checked this race, since by the time our runners get Shade Cloak, I assume the game will have been over by then.
Now, I believe Hidden Station Stag itself is a new check.
Love Key.
Oh boy.
That does open up another check for Locus. Not a particularly enjoyable one, but it is a check.
Mathulu looking towards these last few basin checks. I believe neither runner has checked the Paylor, but Mathulu is about to get the wings check as well as the basin simple key.
Yep. Meanwhile, Locus heading over for that Black Egg Temple check.
Blowing Womb, unfortunately not on the board.
And there's Ismas and Black Egg.
Isma's here. Wow.
Not quite the progression you're looking for, but I guess vaguely nice to have. Might be prompting Locus to check Shape of Un here.
It could be.
Unfortunately, we are not going to be
short work.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not going to be getting any content Shape of Un skips. But Mathulu takes down harder Lostkin pretty easily.
Yeah, with D-Dark, certainly this fight goes by in a blink of an eye, and we'll see if he gets rewarded for it with something at the wings check.
Quick slash, nice, but not very, not a goal here, or a progression towards a goal.
Yeah, I have not yet seen that another dash. We just have the one.
This might be Mathulu going over to Watcher Knights here. So we might be seeing
This could be
getting
wings
wings
for him,
soon.
even if it is just a little bit late for that third dream nail.
Meanwhile, Locus going through QG. I believe we've already seen this egg from Mathulu really early when he lever skipped in. But we haven't seen Love Key yet.
No, we
Which is
haven't
something
seen
Locus
Love
could
Key.
check here.
Either Love Key or Collector. Maybe seeing that soon. One of them.
I would hope that we'd see Love Key before Collector.
Yeah.
Philly will be having a bit of an easier time here with Watcher Knights, with D-Dark and Shade Soul compared to Locus's just dive.
Yeah, it's certainly going to go quite a bit faster, and he will get his wings. We'll see if he gets baited into sort of repeating some of these same kind of wings lock checks that Locus did. The one thing that would kind of point him away from doing that is that he can kind of suspect that Locus already did that, seeing the Dream Nail.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it could just be the other rates, that was at Willow's Meal or Fungal Core. I think he probably will be doing those checks as well.
Oh, apparently Chad's saying that Locus is currently glitched.
I
from
thought I
the
might have
Dream
seen him
invisibility.
go over some geo. Let's see if we can get both of our runners paused for just a second. Yeah, that looks like if he can't pick up the geo, it looks like that might be Dreamgate storage, probably coming from when he got that white screen earlier. So I believe that's just going to be a pretty easy thing to fix, just with a quit out.
Yeah, just need to save and quit, I believe. Hasn't been too big of a deal so far. Locus only really went through that Petra arena, and probably wouldn't have died to that. But we would want to get that fixed before too long. I guess one way we could get their intention is by marking the bingo board in red.
Let's see.
Okay, it looks like we've gotten them both to pause. Yeah, and I believe Locus just needs to save and quit out and doesn't need to restart the game.
I think he may need to actually restart the game. Well, it's...
Okay, it looks like they're ready again, so we'll just count them down.
All right, looks like both of our runners will be ready. Just a pretty quick fix. Locus going back to this bench and Mathulu continuing on. Thanks as well to Chad for staying vigilant and pointing it out.
Yeah, sometimes Hollow Knight is not the most robustly coded game, so sometimes glitches like that can happen.
Looks like we should be getting resumed in just a moment while we wait for the stream delay to catch up. In the meantime, let's kind of relook at the board and see where we're at. We have still the 2 Shade Cloak locked goals. Obtain Lumify Lantern and obtain Lurian, both being sort of one-off random obtains, and obtain Abyss Streak being sort of 2 random obtains, with Mathulu already having 1. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where our runners choose to go.
Yeah. Also, to be completely fair, Hollow Knight is a very impressive game, especially considering it was coded by 2 people. It just, it isn't like the most robustly coded game. It is a very good game though, and it has given me a lot of hours of enjoyment, certainly.
Looks like Mathulu probably going to be heading towards picking up his first dash. That's quite good for him. He will need 2, and then that's just the game if he finds these 2. It'll be interesting to see whether he also chooses to go for Mantis Lords or just proceeds to Fungal Core.
Yeah, I believe Locus just went to Fungal Core and didn't bother with Mantis Lords. Looks like Mathulu is going to be going to Fungal Core, but is going to set a Dream Gate down, perhaps for backtracking later.
Yeah, Mantis Lords being kind of 3 relatively quick checks that haven't been done by either runner, as Locus moves through this frog arena.
Yeah, unfortunately, without QG Stag, he has to go the long way around here.
Yeah, and he will potentially be looking at this comeback here, going to be doing the check quite a bit faster than Mathulu with wings. But will, just like Mathulu, find nothing.
Also, apparently,
I guess it wasn't nothing. It was something for Mathulu. Going to be nothing for Locus.
Yeah, so Locus probably doesn't like seeing that. Now knows that he's following Mathulu a bit. Also, apparently, according to chat, Locus did not check Super Secret Steel, possibly out of lack of knowledge for where it is. I believe in a previous race, he also expressed a lack of knowledge.
Yeah, it's a hard one to find, especially if you haven't done it before. But Mathulu, well versed in these checks, is able to find it and finds the elegant key. We'll see if that leads him anywhere.
Looks like Mathulu is going to be warping back, Dream Gating back for Mantis Lords. So we will be seeing those 3 new checks. Meanwhile, Locus heading into Edge, possibly to go check
Locus
near
might
Aura.
be looking towards Collector.
Maybe.
Locus might be heading towards Collector. He does have that love key.
I would expect him to go upper edge in that case, though. So he might be looking to do lower edge checks first.
Yeah, the one kind of very interesting dynamic here is you have both these goals as being the Shade Cloak locked goals, as well as the Abyss Streak goals as being sort of effectively 2 random obtains. So on the one hand, normally when you have a lot of random obtains, you don't want to repeat checks that your opponent has done, right? Locus knows that Thulu has been here before from the Sports Room goal. When you have these goals that are 2 things, you might want to go there with sort of the thought that maybe your opponent only has 1 of them, and that's the reason why they haven't marked it.
Yeah, Locus might suspect that Mathulu has dash, maybe because of that Sporstream goal, though not necessarily. That doesn't necessarily need dash, as we've seen from Mathulu, and so might be actively trying to backtrack on Mathulu's checks to find that suspected second dash.
Able to get up here while Mathulu does Mantis Lords, and Luca's going to have certainly a much easier time doing this than Mathulu, having access to that dash.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we'll be repeating checks that we know are to be nothing. Mathulu does a few new ones.
Meanwhile, Mathulu finishes up Mantis Lords, and we'll be seeing these 3 new checks here. Could very easily be the game here if one of these is the second dash.
Absolutely. Oh, now one thing that is new is that we have not seen Hornet 2 yet. I don't believe we saw Camp Bench either. Oh, if that's another dash, then Locus is probably going to snipe, probably going to get this Markoth goal, and potentially could be looking towards that Dream No White Lady. At that point, it would be anyone's game.
Yeah, Mathulu skipped that check earlier and the bench in order to go up to Kingdom's Edge. It is a pretty annoying check with just Claw as he had at the time.
Looks like the dash is not going to be behind Mantis Lords.
Looks like we might be getting some green path checks here from Mathulu. I believe we've already seen Acid Bridge and Thorns from Locus. There's also Massive Moss Charger. I don't think we've seen Shio.
We certainly we haven't seen Shio, definitely. Locust going to be getting this Bellfly egg we call Acrid Egg, potentially getting that Great Hopper Relic as well.
Another check in Upper Edge we haven't seen. Well, I guess the Collector here, which it looks like Locust is heading for, as well as Hail Lurker is another one we haven't seen from Mathulu.
I believe Thorns might be a new check. I can't remember if Locust checked it when he was down here.
I'm pretty sure Locust did, but regardless, it's not a useful one. What is... Oh, Locust is just getting some soul, I see.
Locust just going to gather a bit of soul. This is not an easy fight without nail upgrades, and going to want to have all the spells available to him that he can get.
Yeah. D-Dark also probably not the best spell for Collector either. You kind of really want Shriek for the large amount of damage it can do against Collector, or Shade Soul to be able to take care of all the minions at long range very easily. Though Locust is handling the fight pretty well so far with D-Dark.
Yeah, D-Dark has kind of a surprisingly large range for those shockwaves, so often you are going to be able to hit all the spawns.
Yeah.
As Mathulu checks Shio, a new check, and we'll see what it is. It's an egg. I believe we haven't seen. I believe we haven't seen the Vanilla Wraiths check. Oh, Mathulu potentially could be looking there as well.
That is a very clean Collector fight from Locust.
Absolutely.
Will be rewarded with 3 grubs, and there is a Bish Streak from Mathulu. So that's
there's a Bish Streak. Brings him up to 12. This game point, he needs either another dash, a lantern, or a Lurian. Lucas needs all of those.
Is this perhaps getting the Shape of Ruin skip from Mathulu? Looks like it.
We could be seeing it. I know he was practicing it a bit before the match. Unfortunately, we do know that it isn't anything, but we will be getting the content nonetheless.
Wasn't it like
a man of the people?
Wasn't it like Quick Slash or something? A vaguely useful spell?
Might have been. Yeah, I think it was some kind of charm.
Okay, looks like Mathulu's not going to do that just yet. Oh, this is probably getting his shade back because you do want to have more soul for fireballs and such. Probably going to get the Bretta check as well along the way.
I'm not sure what we're seeing from Locus. It could potentially be... Oh, the Go Math chart check. I guess he hasn't done it yet. I believe this was a fragment.
Yeah, I think this was Mathulu's third. Mathulu not even going to go check Bretta, going straight for the content with Shape of Moon. Celebratory Shape of Moon skip for his 12th goal.
Well, he hasn't won yet, so yeah, we'll see how this pans out for him.
That looked pretty close.
It was close. Yeah, I think one of those fireballs just a little too early, but should be able to get this next one. So Locus going to be repeating a few of these checks. As Mathulu, I suppose, also repeating some checks. Mathulu just a little too early. So this is not an easy skip, by the way. It's very, very difficult.
Mathulu gets a third try.
That should be good. Nice. Gets the third try. Very impressive by Mathulu.
Yep, and these inner skips are much easier. Just standard C-dash across after perhaps clanging the wall. Though I guess the hazard respawn is pretty annoying.
So one very interesting wrinkle here is we could very well run into the time limit here. We're at about 2 hours with a hard limit at 2 hours 30. Now I think for players of this kind of caliber, they should be able to get close to a full clear. But potentially if Locus kind of snipes some of these goals and it ends up being a pretty cursed lantern, we could be here for either the time limit or close to it.
Yeah, I think 3 hours should be enough for both of them to effectively full clear the seed.
It's 3 hours. Oh, it's 3. Never mind. 3 hours.
Yeah.
They should be able to full clear, no problem then.
Yeah, though they did get out to a pretty slow start with no horizontal, just claw, and a lot of long goals that they had to do, like Colo's Out and Carefree Melody.
Just a journal.
Looks like
this
Mathulu's
might
going
be
to
Fluke Marm from Mathulu.
Yeah.
We've already seen this from Locus.
I believe it was a Charm Notch.
Sounds right.
Mathulu could be going on a bit of a boss rush here with full shade spells, shaman, and just full of damage.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly is going to be able to push out quite a bit with the streak as well.
Looks like this might be Love Key from Mathulu.
A Love Key, he's just in this acid skip, in full-on acid skip mode. He wants to show them all off.
Would kind of like to see Mathulu go back for those Weaver's Den checks, though.
Yeah, the ones he kind of stranded, those all being quite a bit easier with dash.
Yeah. Though I guess it is impossible for... It's not possible for Lantern to be there, so those are less valuable checks.
That's true, yeah, although they could very well be Lurian or that extra dash. Other thing, I would like to see some of these like longer checks. Like I'd like to see E key. I'd like to potentially at least see what's at Flower Quest. So we'll see kind of if those end up panning out or when our runners check them.
Two rancid eggs for our racers. Lots of rancid eggs this race. Looks like Mathulu might be heading back to Dark Deep Nest through this way, while Locust might be heading over to Umu now.
The Umu, you know, it is a check that you can be relatively sure that your opponent hasn't done. Being, you know, so long, as well as, you know, being locked behind either Ismas or, you know, we know that Mathulu is C-Dash, but from Locus's perspective, Mathulu could have just gotten Glowing Womb with a Spike Tunnel.
Oh yeah, also, Hamathri brings up a good point in chat. A Spore Stream has not been checked by either of the racers, but though both of them have been by it a couple times.
Yeah, I've been kind of past it, yeah.
Looks like we are going to see Weaver's Den from Mathulu. Going to be much easier with Dash here. And meanwhile, Locust going over to check God Tuner, possibly.
Yeah, this could be a God Tuner check, although, you know, it does know that Mathulu's been down here.
Again, he might be trying to follow Mathulu to find a second Dash, but...
It's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, the other thing that would kind of point him in that direction is if he's sort of going into this assuming that Mathulu did the Spike Tunnel to Glowing Womb, that would point to Mathulu having a dash that wasn't at Mantis Village. But in that case, I think it would very much benefit Locus to sort of backtrack with what Mathulu's done.
Looks like Weaver's Den is a bust. And Mathulu might be looking to do Deepness Vessel Fragment here, maybe even thinking about Nosk. Not too bad with how much damage he has, and also a check that Locust almost certainly has not done. Worth noting that with dupes, there are 3 other dashes out there. None of that we haven't seen any sign of. So,
however, it could also be those 3 dashes being locked behind Shade Cloak.
That is true. There could be dashes at like Void Heart, at Trader Lord, at Sharp Shadow, places like that. Though those would have to be the dupes.
Looks like Locust going to do Dung Defender. I believe this is a new check. I don't believe Mathulu's done this.
Yeah, I believe that's correct. Meanwhile, Mathulu is probably going over to Soul Sanctum and Storerooms. Maybe getting that Elegant Key finally checked.
Yeah, I believe we've already seen, I believe, everything from Storerooms and Soul Sanctum from Locust, so fortunately it will be kind of a bust for Mathulu.
Mathulu saving the grub even though he doesn't need to. You love to see it.
Yeah, you know, first we had Scurry doing elegy percent runs. Now we have Mathulu saving every grub. It's a great day to be a grub, I guess.
Grubs deserve to be saved. How could you just leave behind a grub as you pass by? I don't understand it.
This could be the Elegant Key check from Mathulu.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good check to do here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure if Elegant Key would be dash locked, but it could very easily be something that would be in logic, like a logical second dash, given how early you could get to Mantis Village, and we know that Randomizer does tend to put progression towards the end of progression chains, so sort of this being only part of a chain at kind of the end of it could indicate that it's more likely to be dash.
Yeah, I do think this is in logic without dash. I don't even know what the logic is. You might need a spell, or you might just not need anything, but looks like it's not going to be anything.
Yeah, just a Soul Eater. Useful charm, certainly, but not going to be what Mathulu needs.
Well, looks like Locus is going to head up to up to Kahlo now. Already checked all of the checks in here, but is going to get Great Hopper Relic, check Kahlo's, maybe even check Pale Lurker, which we haven't seen yet.
Pale Lurker, you know, Mathulu not having dash at that time, certainly very much, not having dash or even VS at the time, certainly are justified in skipping it, but we'll see if that ends up hurting him here, if it ends up being something. Also, I'm not sure if Mathulu kind of previewed what was at Kahlo 2.
I'm pretty sure he did after doing Kahlo 1.
But I don't remember what it was. So we'll
I don't
see.
remember it being
He's probably
relevant.
gonna check it.
Mask Shard. But what's at Kahlo 3?
Shard, yeah. All 3 is the glory of being a fool.
I thought that was our last 4 goals on the board. All of them require being a fool. You would be a fool to pick up Lumify Lantern and destroy
True.
content, dark rooms.
Looks like this is going to be Pale Lurker from Locus. Luckily, we do not have his audio on.
Unluckily, I think you mean.
Yes. I'm just able to find a masked shard of that idol, and we'll see how the fight goes for him. Should be pretty simple with yes, and the dash.
We're actually starting to run kind of low on checks. There's like a few more things left in Peaks, I believe, with Crown, D-Dark. I don't think those were checked. There's Pale Lurker that Locus is doing right now.
Spore Shroom.
Yeah, Spore Shroom, Nosk, Hornet 2. I don't know what else hasn't been checked by at least one of the racers at this point.
Yeah, we definitely don't have any like whole areas that haven't been checked. Oh, and there's the Shade Cloak for Locus. That's huge.
That's
That
huge,
immediately is going to bring him up to those 2 quick goals up to 11. And potentially, if Lantern and Lurian are Shade Cloak locked, this could potentially just be a win for Locus here, because Mathulu is not going back to Pale Lurker anytime soon.
Another thing we haven't seen is, I believe neither of the races has checked Massive Boss Charger checks or Stone Sanctuary.
It's true, you know, Stone Sanctuary definitely not going to be the Lantern, but it could potentially be, you know, a dash dupe or potentially that Lurian. Locus kind of struggling a bit versus Markoth. You definitely would want to have, you know, a Wraith or a Shriek for this, but able to put in some pretty good damage with D-Dark. And march that goal, bringing him up to 10.
Yep. Mathulu's got to be sweating a bit now, knowing that his lead is about to close to just a 1-goal lead. And it'll come down to these last
the one
2
sort of
random
advantage
checks.
is it is still going to have to be Locus finding both goals versus Mathulu only needing 1, but if those goals are Shade Cloak locked, you know, it would be a huge advantage for Locus.
Yeah. This could be Mathulu going over to Hornet 2 and Camp Bench. Can't imagine what else.
The other thing, Mathulu potentially, I suppose he wouldn't know necessarily when Locus got Shade Cloak, so might not be able to suss out kind of the area.
Huh, is there a reason why Mathulu's putting a Dream Gate down next to Markoth?
I'm not sure. That's kind of an interesting thing. Did see that Markoth was marked.
Yeah, maybe he like didn't realize that quite yet that Markoth was marked or something. But
looks like Locus going to be fighting Trader Lord. D-Dark definitely quite helpful for this fight. even though he
unfortunately takes a death.
taken an unfortunate death.
Shade
I
Cloak
still-
not recharging quite fast enough.
I still don't think Mathulu could snipe this, even if he goes straight for Pill Lurker. Bar.
Yeah, or
potentially
if
another
Hornet
one.
2 is dash. I don't think Mathulu can snipe this.
Mathulu should certainly have no trouble with Hornet 2, given this setup he has, especially with the
Yeah.
Shaman Stone.
Shaman plus Soul Eater plus full spells seems pretty good. Yep, a pretty quick fight for Mathulu. Meanwhile, Locus starts on his second attempt to trade a Lord.
It should go a bit better this time. Let's see what's at King's Brand.
Another Awoken Dream now.
Yet another dream now.
Looks like this might be Nosk from Mathulu, just doing all the cursed bosses now. Meanwhile, Locus finishes up Trader Lord and will be getting his 11th goal here. After this, I fully expect Locus to go clean up all of those Shade Cloak lock checks, like Sharp Shadow, Void Heart, perhaps, since he knows that Mathulu can't possibly have done those checks.
And kind of looking at some of these other checks, I'm not sure if either runner has checked the Basin Pale Ore. I know we've talked about
yeah, that's a
Forge
good one.
bit before. So certainly there's a few checks that aren't particularly cursed that both runners haven't checked. Look like Locust going to Crown.
Or maybe down... Oh, no, it looks like he's going up to Crown. Or not. Looks like this is
Maybe not.
Sharp
This could
Shadow,
be,
perhaps? Or...
Could very well be the Sharp
yeah.
Shadow check. It's Mathulu looking to put quite a bit of hurt onto Nosk, able to get good damage in, able to shriek in the ceiling. And makes very short work of Nosk with his spell setup.
Nothing at Nosk.
Just a seal.
It's getting increasingly likely that everything is locked behind Shade Cloak.
Yeah, we're running out of checks for Mathulu to do.
There's also Umu that I don't think Locust did Umu itself. Just did
Locust did
if I
not do
came
the
in.
move when he was down there. And Spell Twister, it's not a bad one to have, but certainly not going to be the win either. And it looks like that's where Mathulu might be heading. Potentially to this damage boost relic, Spooky's favorite, the Charm Notch, and potentially down to Umu afterwards.
Meanwhile, it looks like Locust is returning to his home turf of the Abyss, looking to see if perhaps Voidheart has something in store for him.
Mathulu having a pretty easy time with that skip. With the wings, you can even do it without wings, but luckily he has wings. Probably going to be moving on to Umu afterwards. Well,
Locust a tiny bit lost in Birthplace.
A bit lost. Able to find the Shade Gate eventually.
And there's Dupe Wings. Well, who knows? That could be vanilla wings.
Could be intended
not vanilla.
wings, yeah.
Intended wings, yeah.
Intended wings.
Unfortunately for Locus, all of the other checks here have already been checked by Mathulu.
There was Mathulu now doing a novel check. Should be able to get the Umu 1 cycle freak. Well,
Yeah.
I believe he's getting an extra attack here, though.
No, this is not an extra attack. I believe he has Sane Umu on.
That was just a third. Right.
Okay,
Able to get
barely,
the one
just
cycle.
barely gets the
Obviously.
1 cycle there. With a partially missed streak.
And let's see what he finds. Oh, the C dash. I guess Locus is going to be finishing the seed without C dash, most likely.
So, Spore Shroom, Base and Pale Ore, those are probably the best candidates for where our last few items are. Oh, this Palm Relic down
Locust
here, I
might
believe,
be-
also no one has checked.
Palm Relic, yeah, I believe this is new. Locus potentially also could be getting Spore Shroom. Hidden Station Stag. We already know that to be Love Key, though.
Yeah, we already know
These
Collector
Massive
to
Moss
be
Charger Relics.
nothing.
Yeah, and Massive Moss Charger Relics potentially after this, as well as the Vessel Fragment, of course.
Yep, and perhaps even No Eyes
Nope, we're
Dark
past
Room.
Immediate
Oh yeah,
Journal.
we haven't seen Wraiths checked either, I don't believe.
I don't believe we've seen Wraiths. Looks like this is going to be the Massive Moss Charger checks, though, from Locus. More novel checks.
And well, it looks like Mathulu might be going through peaks here. Unfortunate, since Locus has already done all of this. Except, I guess, D-Dark.
Although I believe the Crown would be Crown and D-Dark, I believe, would be novel
Oh, yeah.
checks for
Crown
Mathulu, potentially having the Lurian or that Lantern. I guess D-Dark can't have Lantern, but potentially could have Lurian. Distant Village Stag, a bit late for Locus. Well, actually, no, I guess it isn't late for Locus. It'd be late for Mathulu, but for Locus, that is going to be quicker access to some of these checks. Even though we know now that Mathulu's already done them.
Yeah, though Locus might not even go there, given that Mathulu's already marked Carefree Melody.
Yeah, and with the 2 goals we have left, we know that it's not sort of a double obtain. You have to get a check that your opponent hasn't gotten yet.
Yeah. And with NMG and Black Egg both already checked, there isn't really anything where it could be hidden behind several different things that you need to find all of. It looks like Locus is going to be checking Distant Village here. We are coming up on that 3-hour time limit, just 37 minutes to go. But hopefully we should be able to finish before then.
I believe we should be able to see more or less a full clear of the seed by that time, even though it did start out quite slow with neither runner having dash for a while.
Looks like Mathulu might be going to Dung Defender.
We've unfortunately already seen this from Locus, and Locus also repeating a few checks. We got Wraiths just a little bit late. Locus in his trip through Beast Den, kind of making Fireborn proud, just leaving the grub to die.
Clearly a monster. I can tolerate killing well, I can't tolerate not saving grubs.
And Mathulu leaving the music to die, unfortunately, with that
Also,
scream skip.
Also horrible. Music is the best.
Both runners are denying us the content, denying us the grubs, and being punished with having to repeat each other's checks.
Indeed.
Well, it
Looks like Mathulu
finally
will
gonna
be
pick up his
getting
Shade Cloak.
Shade Cloak here.
Now, I believe Locus has already cleared out all of the Shade Cloak lock checks.
Yeah, I believe
Sharp
so.
Shadow as well as the Void Heart.
Yeah, Sharp Shadow, Void Heart, Trader Lord, QG access has long since been not relevant.
And apologies for the volume there for some of our headphone listeners. And Locus able to pick up his first C dash there, so not entirely a waste of time for him. He's going to be able to move around a little bit quicker. But unfortunately will not be able to get a goal off that.
Yeah, this might be checking the Lifeblood Core Egg.
Mathulu has to be kicking himself here, realizing, that so close to getting that Shade Cloak and not able to. This might be the Flower Quest check.
Yep, this will almost certainly be the Flower Quest check, and this is one of the most cursed places we have yet to check. So we could be in for a Flower Quest race.
With that early Dreamer, and as well as this being on medium, Lurian is not likely to be part of a progression chain. And just a Charm Notch for Flower Quest.
Darn.
Still, these last two items, they could be anywhere.
Yeah, King's Gauntlet is another good point brought up by chat. That was skipped by both racers early on. Yeah, and that is a check that is very commonly forgotten. Mathulu might be baited here by Collector with that Love Key. Though he knows that Locus has been here with Kill a King's Mold.
Looks like Locus at the same time getting baited by NMG.
Yeah, this looks like the Love Key play from Mathulu. So, Basin Pale Ore, Spore Shroom, King's Gauntlet. These are all things that, Crown, D-Dark, No Eyes Dark Room. These are all places that aren't that cursed, but have yet to be checked. I believe Hive has been checked. I believe Locus did that fairly early. Oh yeah, Jonies is another good point from chat. Though the racers both racers might be actively avoiding dark rooms because you can't find Lantern in a dark room on
kind of,
medium.
Half the checks that win you the game there. Locus going to be getting Sheo. We have already seen this from Mathulu. Mathulu getting a Collector, which we've already seen from Locus.
Yeah, it'll probably be a bit more of this as our racers close in on where all the final goals are.
But Mathulu having a much rougher time at Collector than Locus did, already at 1 health. It does take an unfortunate death.
I think he attempted to set a Dream Gate, but didn't end up actually getting that down. Oh, never mind. He set one outside.
Does not get his shade though. Looks locked in the box there.
Interesting. Looks like he's going to go back for it now. It's like Locus is going to check this progression egg that I believe Mathulu's already gotten.
Yeah, he already got it.
A nice scream skip there from Mathulu.
Scream skip there. Have a much easier time of this now with being able to get those streaks in early. Should make quick work of Collector.
Though again, rip the music. Mathulu confirmed a hater of music.
I don't like Collector music that much.
I think it's great.
But Mathulu going to be getting this check. I think it was like a relic or something.
Oh, it was Isma's.
And, oh, Rizma's. All right, another useless item. Looks like Locus going to be checking Wraiths here. This is a new check. We have not seen it from either runner.
This might be Jonies from Mathulu. I can't think of anything else
Jonies,
you could be going here for.
I'm not going to be too difficult with this setup, with C-Dash and Claw, Wings, Hive, and all that. So we do it like 1XX does. We know it won't be Lantern, but could potentially be this Lurian. And now both runners, after having repeated so many checks, are finally doing new ones. And there's Lurian.
Oh,
man.
That's huge. That's 12-12 now. Whoever finds Lantern wins, and I think Mathulu's best play right now would to be immediately to warp out of Jonies because Lantern cannot be here, and all of the keys have all been found.
That's all that many fewer places that Lantern can be.
Yeah, so we're really looking at like Basin Pale or Crown Spore Shroom as our last places to left for our racers to go.
Looks like Mathulu a little indecisive, and I don't blame him, knowing how important this game is, being the last elimination for him. And
we might be seeing Locus getting Spore Shroom here, and we might see Mathulu going down to Void Heart. Unfortunately, not a new check.
The Spore Shroom at this point, fairly likely. There's just not that many checks left.
Yeah.
King's Gauntlet as well. Just a Rancid Egg at Spore Shroom.
Mathulu will be getting his dupe wings there. Mathulu going back for that Sharp Shadow check. Unfortunately, already checked by Locus. Looks like Locus is heading back down to Mantis Village. Probably looking to do Mantis Lords. Unfortunately, Mathulu's already done though.
It could be Mantis Lord as well as the Bretta check. I think Bretta is one that you maybe can assume that your opponent hasn't done. It is a pretty long check as well as one that's easy to put off.
I think it might be the case that Mathulu saved Bretta but did not check Bretta. I thought I saw Mathulu save Bretta, but I also think I didn't see.
I'm pretty sure we saw
it.
Someone check Bretta. Looks like though this may be Crown for Mathulu. That is a new check.
Okay, chat is claiming that Mathulu has checked Bretta, so I think we're in the clear.
I'm pretty sure we've seen at least one runner check Bretta.
The fact that this last random obtained as Lantern is actually pretty good for Locus, since it does rule out all of Dark Deep Nest, which he has yet to do and isn't quite sure whether Mathulu did, because it's entirely possible Mathulu just got Distant Village Stag for Carefree Melody and then didn't even bother with Dark Deep Nest.
Yeah, and it's that much more time that effectively Mathulu has kind of wasted, unbeknownst to him, doing checks that we know now cannot be Lantern. And moment of truth. Just a Palor. First Demothity.
I'm sure that was based in Palor, and that.
Yeah, no, it's
that
probably
will-
just based in Palor.
Yeah,
That may
that'll
be the
make
reminder
Cthulhu-
to go and check it.
Yeah.
Everything else here we've already seen from Locus, except for D-Dark, which we know can't be Lantern.
Oh, but that Wayward Compass, that pickup right there is really good for Mathulu. He couldn't have won without it, so really good that he's picking that up now.
But will he be able to overcome this time deficit that he has, Locus having picked that up so much earlier?
Yeah, it's really tough. Mathulu giving us a different type of underplat. I'm sure many in chat would tell you that it does not count. Another Pale Ore from Mathulu. Further reminder that Basin Pale Ore is available.
On chat, bringing up an interesting point that both runners skipped past the the Crystal Peak dive entrance check.
Oh,
On
yeah.
that one, I think it's likely that neither runner will go back for, knowing how early that was.
I mean, Mathulu is going through peaks, so if there were ever a time, you could be going for it now, like, backwards. So if this race does go to time, I guess that would just be another match for them to have to play. It just wouldn't count as a win for anyone.
Yeah, because
right?
we don't have that tiebreaker necessarily.
Yeah.
Or Mathulu checking Black Egg, we already know this to be nothing. Locus looks like potentially checking Crown, which we already know to be nothing. This could go on for quite a bit more.
Cthulhu giving us the helicopter night content we deserve. Truly deserves to win just because of that. Makes up for the time lost on Wayward Compass.
Yeah, and we have already seen quite a few of these curse checks. We saw that that flower was just a charm notch. We saw the elegant key check, the love key check, the some of these bosses as well. So certainly, gonna be might be a check that at the end of it, runners will say, "Oh, of course, how could I have missed it?" But it's hard to think of that when you're in the moment, when you're in running.
Yeah, another check that could easily have been forgotten by both racers, but I believe Locus got the check at least, is the autopilot seal in Fog Canyon, as Locus was rushing for /2 Shade Gates and Mathulu was rushing for Enter QG. Okay, Locus is warping to Tram. This could be Basin Pale or not.
This could also be. I believe Locus hasn't checked this vessel fragment, although I believe Mathulu has.
This vessel fragment in Nosk could be checks that Locus thinks Mathulu might not have done. Probably won't go over to check Zote or Tram Pass, given that Mathulu provably has saved Zote. Looks like Mathulu is going to go back here for this
potential for Wraith.
Howling Wraith check. And we'll see Lurian here.
Logical check. He's going to be really kicking himself when he sees the Lurian.
Yeah, I think he's passed by here a couple times now.
So Locus looks like potentially is looking towards Nosk here.
Looks like Mathulu is considering his options. Not quite sure where to go from here. Other than Basin Pale Ore and King's Gauntlet, I really can't think of any checks left.
We also have, as Chap pointed
This-
out, that Crystal Peak's entrance egg.
Oh yeah, right, that one as well.
Entrance.
Looks
Have
like
a
Mathulu
very
is going to be doing
check-
Hive. Unfortunately, this will already have been cleared by Locus and will be a pretty big waste of time for Mathulu.
At this point, even though both runners kind of at this advanced upper bracket, I think either one of them might benefit a lot from just a tracker log check or a helper log check, just to be reminded of some of these things that you might have forgotten.
Yeah, I think some of the pauses may have been just that, honestly.
Yeah, I think it may be.
It can be very easy to forget like all of these checks that we've been talking about as you pass by them early game, not able to get them because you don't have the proper tools like the Peaks dive check, or just rushing past them, rushing towards goals like with the Basin Pale or with the King Station Gauntlet. That's a really common one to be left behind because it's pretty long, pretty bad without lots of spells, and often you're rushing towards right side to get those early right side goals.
Ooh, Big B being very nice to Mathulu, able to find that Master Shard.
Dearest Timothedy? Question mark?
Only a 1 in 16 chance of being a Dearest Timothedy moment. But looks like Locus potentially maybe was looking at that helper log during the pause, and
it looks like this
heading up
is
towards this arena.
Yeah, this does look like going towards King Station Arena. So I believe if
I mean, unless we've forgotten
is
something,
correct,
this is a 1 in 3 chance to be Lantern.
Yeah.
And with this setup, he should have no problem. He's just demolishing these enemies.
Yeah.
And oh, just a shade cloak.
Well, okay. Well, we do know that like there's one more shade cloak and one more lantern left, and we have 2 chucks we think we haven't seen. So this might be that one of those other 2 checks here with Basin Pale Ore by
This might
Locus.
be the Basin Pale Ore. This might be a very valuable helper log check.
There's Hive Knight down from Mathulu. Unfortunately, I think what's happened this race is just Mathulu spent a lot of time doing those long goals like Kolozote and Carefree Melody, and while that was definitely very good for him, it also had the unfortunate effect of combined with his lack of dash. Yeah, combined with his lack of dash, it put him
13th.
behind on checks. So yeah, that will be GG's. That will be 2-0 for Locus. Moving on to the next round.
Let's see. Hello, Locus. Let's see if we can get Mathulu in here as well.
Yep, I have marked him done as well. That was a really, really long race.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on. Hello, Mathulu.
GG. What a weird race.
Where were your dashes? I only ever found 2.
My first one was at like an hour and a half or something into the race.
The journal.
And yeah, it was the Mantis Village journal.
Yeah, that's the same one that I got like really late after reading this.
There was another one at King's Arena Gauntlet. There's another
Okay.
one at because that wasn't actually my second. Oh, Pale Lurker was my
I
second.
believe the fourth has to be the last check in the game we didn't see. Peaks dive entrance.
Yeah. So okay, my
Oh,
order
wow.
of checks right now. I was looking at the helper log. I just did Hive. So I was doing Spore Shroom, which I stranded. Peaks dive entrance was going to be my next check. And after that, I was going to go clear out the top of Basin because I hadn't been there yet. And those were all of the checks in my helper log that I hadn't done other than the King's Arena, but I wasn't going to do that because I assumed you did it.
Yeah,
Like I would have done Basin before that.
I
Basic
basically
Paylor
took,
was the lantern.
the lantern beat.
Did I get
Um,
World Sense? I want to just see what the
Yeah,
heck.
I got
I have
World Sense. I imagine you did too.
71% completion on this seed right now.
Yeah, I've got 63. And I think the main difference is that I knew I had to get both to win, both Lurian and Lantern. And I was like, okay, I should just keep on going with progression what I have and not do any dark rooms, because that will eventually lead me to Lantern. And then I got really lucky that Lurian was at Wraiths.
Yeah, I skipped Wraiths really early. And I went back for it later and found Lurian, but it was too late.
Yeah, I think what happened at the end there was that Mathulu had spent a lot of time that game doing like Hollow Zodes, Carefree Melody, like all of Dark Deep Nest, and was behind on Dash, so just had gotten fewer checks than you had, Locus. And so when it came to the end, you just were able to get to those stranded checks like faster than Mathulu did.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I only had like literally 6 checks, it looks like. Like everything else in the helper log was previewed. So like Grey Mourner I checked King Fragment. Queen Fragment I wasn't ever going to do because Locus had already done it, but
Yeah, I was in a position where I was like I think I have, let me scroll through here. Why is D-Dark in Logic without
you just picked Lantern.
Lantern? Oh, I just picked Lantern up. Sorry, yeah. So I have like, I think 4 checks in here that don't require Lantern. So I was like, I have to find Lantern at one of these things, or else it's going to be something like Elegant Key. I think that was the only key. Elegant Key or Shop Key. I didn't find either of those.
Yeah, I found both and did both of those checks.
Yeah.
Elegant Q was that super secret seal, Locus, so...
Okay, yeah, I still don't know where that check was. I was like, if that ends up being Lantern, like, I'll just lose because I don't know where super secret seal is, and that's fine.
So,
like I was...
When I was checking it, I was like, Locus has said in the past he doesn't know this check, and I don't know if he's memeing about it. So
No, I genuinely don't know how to get there, so... if I happen to
had
leave off
Dash by
that...
then at least, but like, oh my lord, that was a seed. Also, I was like really bad about rushing goals in the beginning. Like, Crystal Crawler journal entry, I'd killed one, and I took like an eternity getting the journal, and then you marked it like right when I was entering the journal room. I was like, okay, crap. And I'd like, I don't know, I was able to do Void Pool like way earlier, but I thought, there's no checks I can get down there, or like maybe Birth by Sig I could actually have gotten, but I was like, it's just not.
You
worth
did Hornet 2, right?
Nope. I did Hornet 2 very late.
Okay, so this was what happened. I saw that you did all the edge goals, and then you got Cast Off Shell, and I was like, okay, he had to have either found QG Stag. Wait, so how did you get to QG then?
Great Slash at Essence.
Oh, I just forgot that you can lever skip.
Yeah, so like that's when I skipped rates, like that early on.
So I did like a couple of like cleanup checks, and I was like, if QG Stag isn't here, I'm just gonna assume he did Cast Off Shell and did an early Hornet 2, and then like, and then I won't go and do that check. So I never did Hornet 2 either. I kind of assumed you did it.
Yeah, I did Hornet 2 very late. I figured you would think that I had done Hornet 2.
So how far behind me were you to right side? What did you do in the early game?
So I did False Knight first. I think you didn't, because you got /G Shade Gates like right after I saw Green Path Stag at Sly. So I assume you went shops first.
I did. I wasn't even gonna do Salubra. I got Sly and I got 2 grubs on the way there. I like doing Sly and then those 2 grubs and just see what's at grubs for routing. And then Green Path Stag was there, so I farmed a little bit of Geo and went there.
So that
Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
believe what happened early game was that Locus did that, got the tram pass at Queen Station and went to right side that way, while Mathulu got the Dreamer at Hornet and went to right side that way, and then it ended
Oh,
up lining up so that Locus roughly killed the third Great Husk Sentry as Mathulu was entering King Station, and then Locus got to Waterways first and decided to go down instead of doing the 2 city checks, and then was second to Claw because of that.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
funny. I assumed that. So like I didn't know about the tram pass at Queens until way later. So I thought you must have like followed and done Hornet after you did the Shade Gates, and then gone to right side like that. So when you marked, so I checked resting grounds when I went through. When you marked the 3 house sentries, I was like, oh man, like not only did he get here, but he also skipped resting ground. So he must not have dive and he must not have a simple key. And then you marked waterways and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how did he beat me to Shade Gates and then also beat me to right side and then also beat me to Sanctum or to waterways? So when I found the claw at Lemeg, I thought maybe you actually went Sanctum and didn't have a simple key or dive. But then when I beat you to all the edge goals, I was kind of confused again.
Yeah, I think yeah, because I felt like my early game was pretty fast, and then I died to one of the like big husks before False Night when I was farming Geo, and that made me feel stupid. And then there was something else that happened early game that I felt like I lost a lot of time to. But I still feel like with that tram pass, I felt pretty comfortably ahead of you getting to right side. So when you started marking edge goals, I was like, oh god, he really had time to go all the way down to Queens, get the tram pass, go to resting grounds, get dive, go all the way down. Like I thought you had done all of that, and you were just closer on my tail than I thought.
I see.
Which kind of led me to Claw.
Yeah, I didn't go down to Queens until way later. I just did it with Infection, but yeah, you getting. I thought I was like safe basically for the Sanctum goal, so I was going to do the checks above Lem first, and then I don't know if I could have beat you. Like I didn't open the waterways door, and then you marked the goal, and I was like, I think I had opened Lem's gate or something, and then you marked it, and I was like, oh. Could I have beat him to that if I just went straight in? I don't even know. Like comms.
Yeah,
I think you probably couldn't have.
Okay. Yeah, so that was like pretty close. That one was painful because I didn't know. Like, I guess the thing is that like you just never had to do False Night, so it saved you a ton of time.
Yeah, I had I was having like an internal crisis moment when I was passing the waterways. I used the key immediately as I walked by, and then I was like, do I just go down here and just kind of strand these 2 checks until I have to do this walk again? And I actually like stood at the doorway or like the opening to waterways for like 3 solid seconds, and I was like, shit, what do I do? And before I eventually did go down.
Right.
And then yeah, I found it eventually. I went down to Abyss probably 6 times that seed.
Oh my lord. Yeah, I think I went
maybe
3
not
times at least.
But I went once for Birthplace Egg and Void Pool.
Mm-hmm.
I went another time for the first check with Lifeblood. I went another time for the C-Dash check with Lifeblood. I went another time for all of the Shade Cloak like right side checks, as well as Void Heart. So I guess maybe 4, but I felt like I went down way more times than I should have. I feel like I could have made that a lot more efficient.
Yeah, I went once like after getting Wraiths, so very late, and did the Lifeblood and the... Oh wait, no, I went... That was the second time. Yeah, that was after I had C-Dash, so I don't actually know. Also, did you get the C-Dash at Kolo or at Zochek eventually?
I got the other one.
Monomon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got that very late.
Took both of those were very buried.
Yeah, the C-Dash was very, like, that brought me back in it for sure. But
is that how you did Glowing Womb and Ismas?
Yes. Ismas I did with Fireball to get me into the wall, because I think you need to dash otherwise. Like, I don't know if you can do it without dash.
Yeah, that was very impressive. You could have killed Dung Defender.
Oh, I literally did not even think of that. Okay. that probably would have been easier. But once I got Fireball, I was like, oh, I think I could do the Isma skip now. So I went and tried. Yeah, it was a weird one though. I did like just about every acid skip this game, and then finally found Ismas somewhere terrible.
I remember finding Ismas. I don't even remember where mine was, but I remember finding it and being like, all right, let's go do all the like Ismas checks, and then thinking about it and being like, there's only like 3 Ismas checks that like are reasonable, and then I guess all of QG it put in logic for me, and I went there.
You never
and
got QG Stag?
No, I never found QG Stag. I don't even know where that is.
Yeah, I had
What was that? Because you found it early.
I think it was at a goal or something. Or
Oh,
like
it must
near
have been
one.
at a goal.
Oh, was it?
Was it
Glowing
at
Moon?
Shriek? No,
Might have
Glowing Moon?
been Glowing Moon.
Apparently, it was at Ismas.
Oh, Ismas.
Oh,
Okay,
perfect.
that makes
Yeah,
sense. Yeah. So that explains why he would never go there. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
besides
dashes
that.
were so terrible this seed. I don't know. Like, I guess you had dash first. I don't even know when I got dash. It felt like
I feel like
7
there's
hours
no way
into
I
the
had
seed.
dash first, but we probably both felt like that because it was a 3-hour
Yeah.
race and we probably both didn't find it till like an hour and a half in.
Yeah,
so,
Lucas
like-
definitely had dash first.
Oh
Okay.
wow, okay.
So, like, for perspective, I got Carefree Melody before dash for sure, and that was like my second to last goal. I think Abyss Shriek. Did I get? No, I got Abyss Shriek after dash, but like.
Oh yeah, you didn't have it for a lot longer. When did
Oh
I
yeah,
get it?
Mathulu, you had a death that was really unfortunate trying to get to the Bretta bench with claw only.
Why was that jump weird? Like, there's got to be an easy way to do that jump. I was
I
like,
think you
a
have to
hard
use
jump.
Ghost Slash.
The acid one?
You have to stall, actually? Like, so
I
I'm
think
coming
so.
from Dash Master, and that hurt me so much. Like, that probably lost me, like, several minutes of the...
And also, I assume you also would have like checked where Dash was, like above Mantis Village, much
Yeah.
sooner if you got that bench.
I was going to go up there, and then I didn't get the bench and was like, I'll leave it. So, yeah, that would have been about an hour earlier to Dash.
Oh god.
It happens. Such a weird, like, jump. I was like, wait, I've never tried this. Why is this hard? I don't understand.
You can do all the crazy rando skips, but that one jump,
That jump.
one damn jump.
There's like a platform in the way that you bonk on, basically. And like like I tried a bunch of different wall jumps and all of them dunked me in acid and I died. I was like, well, not going back there anytime soon.
Oh boy.
I went to go do unskip and I realized I needed my shade like an hour later
Oh god,
to,
yeah.
to like do unskip. So I went back and finally got my shade. This is like after doing fungal core and mantis lords and everything.
Yeah. There's another place I feel like I died that I can't remember, that I remember being like, just, oh my goodness, how did I die here? It wasn't the initial husk, even though that one was goofy. I don't remember. Oh, also, like, shout outs to going for Crystal Heart when I was going through peaks and realizing I can't do it with just claw.
Yeah, you need like air slot.
Some way to get to the wall there,
Yeah.
or
you
to
need,
actually make that jump.
Yeah, there's one jump that you need fireball for, or like any air stall, I guess will do.
Oh, also, sorry about the like invincibility glitch. I have no idea how it happened. I'm assuming it had to do with my dream gate in peaks.
Yeah, like there was.
So what?
It just happens sometimes. I don't know. Like when you dream gate.
Yeah, so basically,
not sure.
the way it works is it's Dreamgate storage, and it happens whenever you're interrupted while you're kind of starting to disappear with the Dreamgate. So like
Okay.
in some glitch categories, you'll do it with a room transition. I think you can also do it with like if you're leaving a dream boss as well. It just happens whenever your Dreamgate gets interrupted at a weird time.
Yeah, because yeah, it was weird. Also, do we know what causes the white screen when I dream gate?
That's the same thing. Dream gate storage, I believe.
Okay, yeah, because I felt kind of screwed for a little bit there when I set a dream gate just outside of the like Crystal Heart room, and then I got Crystal Heart check, went to dream gate out, and it went white, and I was like, huh, this sucks. So I warped out, and it went back to normal, and I was like, okay, cool. And I warped again back to that dream gate. I was like, okay, I'll keep continuing with my checks, and it went white again. And I was like, maybe I can just get control and like go through the transition because I know where the transition is. And I did that, and then it still stayed white. And I was like, oh, okay, great. I guess I just have to do this walk again, which was weird. But I guess Hollow Knight will be Hollow Knight.
So this is actually a good check. When you had that glitch, did you have dash at that point? Because I got dash pretty much right after that. I was on my way down there.
Yeah, I think I had to have at that point.
Okay, yeah.
Because when we noticed the glitch, I was doing the Queen's Garden Arena. I was trying to get to the stag, and I realized that I couldn't pick up Geo, but I was just like, okay, by the time I warp again, it'll just figure it out. And then I like remember walking through a hitbox and being like, oh, that's weird. I didn't think D-Dark had that many iframes. And then the like red X appeared on the board and I was like, oh God, what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, when I saw that all the goals being marked, I was like, uh-oh, something's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't turn out to be too serious, thankfully.
Yeah. That's good.
14 rancid eggs, that seed, and 31 charms.
Let me see. I have 13 rancid eggs. And...
ludicrous.
God, yeah, probably not as many charms as you did. Yeah. I very quickly lost track of where you were. I felt like it was so interesting because we kind of had like spans of like us marking goals. Like I marked the first 3, then you marked the next 2. And like after I marked the first 3, I was like, I have no idea where you are. And then we marked a couple and then I was like, hey, he's got to be around here. And then I lost you again, like so quickly.
Yeah. Because we went so long. Like, yeah, when you got like 2 nail arts, for example, I just had absolutely no idea where you were. And presumably the same with like Obtain Sprinter Dash Master and Check Glowing Loom. It's just like it could have been anywhere that I got the movement for that. Also, Dash Master being vanilla. Shout out to that. I was literally going down there thinking like, ooh, this could be a vanilla Dash Master. That would be great. And then I picked it up and I was like, are you actually joking? This is hilarious.
Oh my goodness. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that seed was quite something. Yeah, it really like I feel like I played pretty bad about goal rushing early on, and that could have probably turned this into 13-12 the other way. But,
it was only a 1 goal difference, so.
Yeah, I think if you got the Crystal Crawler journal entry, basically everything would be the same except you would have one more goal, and that definitely could have swung it.
Yeah, like if I'd gotten the entry before getting the grub, for example, it would have been enough, I think.
I was also low-key expecting to get sniped on Moss Prophet because I thought you had taken the same path to right side as me, and I thought you were going to get the Oro Scarecrow and then just like warp out and do Moss Prophet and then come back for Hot Spring. But you got there a completely different way, so I'm guessing you didn't have Queen's Station at that point, right?
No, so I was going to head down to Moss Prophet if I had enough time. I was visiting QG, and then you marked Moss Prophet while I was on my way to QG, I think. So I decided not to go down there. Basically, I didn't know if you had vertical or not, so I knew I would be able to get Moss Prophet if you didn't have vertical, but yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, congratulations, Mathulu, on your 4th place, and congratulations, Locus, on advancing to, was it Losers Finals? Is that what it's called?
Yep, against either Connor or Jet.
Indeed.
So some pretty scary players.
GG, Locus. Good luck in the next round. I am finally
so
free
much.
of Lockout.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that too. Like, there's a point in time, like 2 hours into that, and I was like, dude, did I just like forfeit? Like, I just like?
Like, I actually thought we might go to time. Like, it was pretty close. I think it was like 2:45, but I think we both cleared before that. So.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I wouldn't have made it here if it wasn't for you.
That is very true.
Ash in Swiss, so I owe that to you as well. So thank you for that.
Yep. Go make use of it, Locus. You got to go.
I'll do my best.
Work your way back to those finals.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thanks so much to both of our runners for putting on a great show. Thanks as well to my co-commentator Jason, everyone from the SpeedGaming volunteer community, as well as to you at home watching this. We're wrapping up this tournament. We're close to the end, and should be a very exciting finish.
Yeah, everybody give shoutouts to Jason and Douglas for commentating this almost 3-hour race. That takes some serious stamina as a commentator. So huge props to both of them for that.
It absolutely does. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for the comms.
Thank you for the great race.
Yep. I don't believe there's any races scheduled right now, unless that's changed recently. But there should still be some races coming up in the next week or so as we finish out the losers semifinals and winners finals for both the lower and upper brackets.
Yep. So thanks to everybody for watching. Stay tuned for those races. I know that Connor and Jet still have to play. I'm not sure if the lower bracket finished out their 2 matches or if there's still something outstanding there, but we should be seeing at least a bit more. I think they're done in the lowers. Yeah. So just
I think the lower bracket is down. Yeah.
Yeah. Keep your eyes peeled in the next week or so. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed.
Have a nice night. Have a nice night, guys.
All right. Good luck and good night.
Good night.